Guess what day it is? Guess what day it is? Huh? Anybody? Julie, hey, guess what day it is? Oh, come on, I know you can hear me. Mike. What day is it, Mike? Leslie, guess what today is?
It's hump day.
Woo-hoo!
Ooh, Wendy Bell Radio is live.
Hey,
I
guess-
did you a solid because I knew you wouldn't last longer. You were already eyes were moving back and forth.
Hey, do you guys know what today is?
Hump day!
It is hump day. I know it. Brock's not going to ruin it for me.
What?
By making fat ahead out of the gate. I'm not going to let it happen.
Be making what?
What?
You say fat head?
What? Hi, everybody. What's going on?
What are you talking
Somebody
about?
just said we were a number 2 editor's pick. It's about time. I think Dan Bongino should rate our stream. Dan, get off your ass. Let's make it happen. Okay?
We're number 3.
Well, I got a little fake news over there. How's everybody doing? Okay, so. Oh, Froggy. Thanks, Froggy. Froggy sent me all sorts of messages yesterday to apologize for something. I have no idea. I don't know what he did, but I was like, yeah, you should be sorry.
Yeah.
You ought to not do it again.
See, this is it. What it is? Men just apologize,
Oh,
just to
my
apologize. We're like,
God.
we don't even want shit to start.
Oh,
Let me
my
just.
God.
I'm sorry for
That's so not how this is
breathing.
devolving. That's so not where we're going with
I
this.
breathe, therefore I apologize.
The
Yes,
reality
dear.
is that the elephant in the room is always sex, right? And so man has to just do whatever needs to be done, right? Yes or no? Right? Can we just cut through it? Cut through it. In the relationship paradigm, it's usually what it boils down to. And so what you end up getting is a half-hearted, not really meaningful or honest, I'm sorry, or what have you, in order to get what you want. But see, we're onto it.
No,
We know we're crazy.
You know why you're not onto it?
We
Okay,
know we're crazy.
This is the conversation.
I
You
know
know why
I'm
women aren't
crazy.
onto it? Because women weaponize it.
Oh, see, you know what?
They're like Democrats when it comes to that. They weaponize everything.
You know what?
The
It's not,
silent
look,
treatment.
Look.
Women
I'm not going to say
weaponize
this
the
now.
silent
Shh.
treatment, sex,
No.
all of it.
No.
Food.
No.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so some people do. I imagine you are quite correct about that. But I will also say that there's more to it than that for a woman. It's got to be up here and in there. And if you piss us off, then it feels disingenuous, almost like we're doing something we don't want to be doing in the moment. We just need to work it out. That's
Can I
all.
roll my eyes anymore? Here, do my whole head. Nice.
Hey, so Brock and I were just talking because I said to him, I said, how much do you think GLP-1 Gold from Juvenon costs? Right? What do you think it costs? And he's like, I don't have the foggiest notion.
I said $70.
$70 for a month of this instead of going and getting injections for weight loss, right? And I was like, I'd probably guess it was the same. So we went on bloodflow7.com/Wendy. And our page just
It's flying off the shelves and out of my hands.
our page just pops up and auto populates a 30% off discount for you. So I go on there and I'm like, what? It takes it down to like, what did I say it was? $40?
Less than that.
$38?
Yeah.
$38. That's what it costs to take GLP-1 Gold. This is their Juvenon's dietary supplement that crushes your weight. Absolutely crushes your weight, your appetite, all of it. You can get it for less than $40 a month. Then I was looking at Blood Flow 7, which is my baby, right? And I'm like, well, what does that cost a month? $23. $23. Less than $1 a day.
Why feed some kid in Africa when you can give yourself?
Forget those starving dogs. I don't care about them. I'm telling you, Juvenon it's the real deal. I would encourage you wholeheartedly, GLP-1 Gold. Why don't you try it for a month and see if it completely helps you? Can you imagine not being on shots and not eating until you want to pop? Juvenon, bloodflow7.com. All of the products are there. Holy cow. Their discounts are for real. It is for real. For real. Okay.
Let me just say this. For all the ladies, I stand by my comments.
Whatever. We don't care what you think.
I got hate in the.
Yeah, you should.
I stand by it.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I'm just going to say this. I love men. Love men. Love them.
We're blockheads.
You're blockheads. You're blockheads. And we expect probably more than we should.
Yeah, thank you. Like,
but I'm
going to go back to the quick.
You can
men
provide,
are like dogs.
You can provide the bare minimum, however. And then there was that. Changing
the rules as you go along. We're used to that, too.
Wow. I feel like it's going to be a counseling session.
Guys.
Oh, don't even guys, because we outnumber you.
Y'all know.
And we live longer, so watch it.
Yeah, you kill us slowly.
4, 3, 2, 1. Welcome to your daily dose of facts to fight off the liberal gaslighting.
You can be in the middle of a hurricane.
You have sanctuary in the city of Chicago.
Or you can be on a calm day. North is still north. You could be in a thunderstorm.
I am angry. We are not going back. Not ever.
North is still north. People can yell at you.
The hell with the Supreme Court. We will defy them.
North is still north. It doesn't change fundamental things. And in this business, right is still right, even if you stand by yourself.
We don't get fooled again. No.
Live across the fruited plain and from sea to shining sea, we're converting the Marxist left 1 hour at a time on the Wendy Bell radio program.
Well, hello, America. Greetings to all of you. Happy Hump Day on this, 11th of March here on the Wendy Bell radio program. It's a delight, as always, to share what we believe is just basic common sense conservatism with you. And that is, it's almost like a throwaway line. Common sense conservatism, of course. Everybody feels that way. Why isn't the Senate feeling like that, right? We got to hone in on what's going on with the SAVE Act. We're going to talk about it today. But I got to tell you, WendyBellRadio.com, that's how you follow along. That's how you get the app. That's how you get the live video stream. It's how you join in the live chat. We get like 8,000 comments a show. And we invite you to share your thoughts as we kind of ask the question. Do we have a government that actually wants to make America great again or not? Because I've got serious questions about that. Hey, thank you for being here. Welcome home. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amen. So it was kind of a ho-hum passing comment in the early morning hours 2 days ago. It was Monday. And my twins, Bob and Chris, are getting ready to go to high school, winding down their senior year. And so all of the SAT prep, all of the college application stuff they've done, God bless them, they took care of all of it. They got into some schools, they got rejected from some schools, and they kind of haphazardly, my son Bobby tells me in the dark on Monday, right, with daylight saving, it wasn't quite light out when they were heading to school. And he goes, well, Mom, I put my deposit down at Tennessee. So there's that. I was like, really? Huh. So let me get this straight. I carried you for 6 months, 7 months. It's as long as I could hold you before you two had to come out. We gave you life. We've supported you. We've nurtured you. We've given you everything we can. We've gone through school. We've gone on visits. We've gone through life together. I've taught you how to drive, right? We've gone through so much. And so you're going to bury the lead that you've just decided on the University of Tennessee and you charge my credit card $250 to hold it. Do you think maybe mom might be a little higher on the priority list? And could we maybe have some excitement? Like, mom, I'm so excited. I've ironed it out. I've made the decision. I'm really excited. I've decided to go to the University of Tennessee in Knoxville. I'd be like, oh my gosh, Bobby, I'm super. No, who am I kidding? I knew he was doing that. I just wanted to be told, right? I wanted to be a part of the process. I wanted to be, I don't know. I don't know what I wanted. And I was kind of hurt. And I was like, oh, okay. So you put down the deposit. How about next time you tell me? How about next time you clue me in? And he looked at me like I had 4 heads. And I'm like, I don't know if we're not communicating because it's this boy-girl thing or it's because I'm 55 and you're 17. I don't know, but maybe it's just that I'm really sad that my clock is ticking and it's official that you guys are going to be leaving. Right? Like if I unwind it all and peel back all of that. And then Chris walked in and I said, have you put down your deposit yet? And he said, no, but I am later today. I'm like, well, congratulations to you two. You're both going to Tennessee to be with your older brother, Ryan. The 3 of you are going to have a wonderful time. I, as a mom, am grateful this chapter of our lives, at least to this point, is buttoned up. Let's go. But still, there's always that lingering thing. Why? Why can't I just enjoy the moment? Why can't I just be like, that's terrific. Good for you boys. You worked so hard for this. Because I did, but I didn't. And I laid an egg on this one all over it. I think I made my sons feel guilty because that's what women do. We're crazy. I know this. I know. Brock, I don't need you doing like touchdown. Yes, I know. In the studio, I could see you celebrating my admission of crazy. You know, but I have an excuse. I'm deeply connected to the people I love. And I probably love a little too much. Maybe squeeze a little too hard. Maybe think things a little too much. But you know what? Wouldn't it be nice? Wouldn't it be nice if you ever felt that way about your government? Wouldn't it be nice if you ever felt like your opinion mattered, like someone wanted your advice? Like they were like, hey, I know that we work for you, and I know we don't work that often. I mean, you guys are working 9-to-5 jobs, but we don't really do that. But we're going to ask you what you guys think. And then you know what we're going to do? We're going to go out there and we're going to work hard on your behalf, and we're going to execute, and we're going to bring it home, and we're going to do this thing together, and we're going to make America great again. You'd be like, yes. And that they don't do that. They don't do that. They're not listening. They're not paying attention. Look, I'm delighted that my sons are moving on into the next chapter. And I'm also devastated. Right? I don't know how to cook for 2. I've cooked for 7. Now I cook for 5. Soon it's going to be 2. What? Right? It's all going to change. And it's all going to be fine. And I think that all this stuff that you and I are going through in this family that we call America, I think it's going to be okay too. But I'm baffled that there are so many people who are against making America great again, who are against securing our elections, who are against showing up and doing the job. We're going to talk about this. John Thune, I have a soundbite of his coming up. Again, mystified at the disconnect of this guy. Are they going to go next week and call a vote on the Senate floor? And then none of the Democrats are going to go for it. So all of the Republicans can vote for it and say, oh, well, here's our 53 votes. Sorry, we need 60. Doesn't look like it's going to happen. We tried. Okay, let's go talk about housing or some other such nonsense. I don't know. But I know up until this point, the communication has really sucked. You and I have been paying all of the bills. You and I have been buying the groceries. You and I have been paying the mortgage. We keep the lights on, right? We pay the taxes. We pay the insurance. We do what we need to do. All we need is a liaison to get it across the finish line. And it doesn't look like we're going to have it. Well, The problem isn't the Democrats. The Democrats don't want to make America great again. The Democrats don't want illegals to not be able to vote. Democrats don't want to stop cheating. Democrats don't want to do any of that. And they will vote as a blob to that end. It's the Senate Republicans that piss me off. The movement at a snail's pace. Let's talk about the real obstruction in Washington right now, because it is the Republican Senate leadership. They are slow walking everything this president wants, everything in his agenda. And the man holding the gavel, John Thune, is the worst of the worst. Under his leadership, the Senate has become a graveyard for Trump-backed legislation passed by the House. Bills that the American people demanded, bills that the House Republicans delivered, bills that the Senate has sat on for over 1 year. You ready? How about this? These are the things that have been sitting in the Senate waiting to get moved on for more than 430 days. The SAVE Act. Okay? This has been in there since January 3rd of 2025. 430 days later, not moving. How about the Halt All Legal Trafficking of Fentanyl Act to crush fentanyl trafficking? Yeah, that's still waiting too, 430 days later. The Born Alive Abortion Survivors Protection Act, so that if you are a botched abortion and you happen to live, that they have to save your life. Crazy that we need to pass a bill, but we're not passing a bill because the Senate Republicans haven't moved on it for 430 days. How about the Action versus No Action Act? There's literally an act that says, you know what? I think we need to act rather than not act. That's a bill, right? It's been sitting in the Senate for 430 days. How about multiple border security and energy protection bills? Yeah, 430 days. How about the Epstein Files Transparency Act? That still hasn't moved across the Senate finish line. The Clear Skies Act, which would be energy and environmental deregulation. The Tribal Trust Land Homecoming Reforms Act. The Bow Wow Act. That, something as simple as, can we all agree that if an illegal alien hurts a dog, a law enforcement dog, whether it's a cop dog or it's an ICE dog, that person should be deported and never be able to come back into this country? We can't get that across the freaking finish line. Why? Why? I don't think Senate Republicans want to show up and do the job. I don't think Senate Republicans want to actually work. I don't think Senate Republicans want to lose their weekends and all of the holiday time. They're off more than Joe freaking Biden was, and he was off for 40% of his presidency. And so that, ladies and gentlemen, is where I am today. I might have gotten a little bit fussy with my kids, just sort of as a happenstance, matter-of-fact side note. Oh, yeah, we're going to Tennessee for college. Thanks, Mom, for everything for the last 18 years. That might have gotten me a little greased. This is going to be a full dumpster fire, ladies and gentlemen. You ready? Buckle up. When we come back, let's listen to limp-wristed John Thune. Well, I don't know if we're going to be able to do this. Really? Next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. Okie dokie. So let me make this abundantly clear because I want to make sure. $23.60 for you to try Blood Flow 7 will change your life. Nitric oxide, this is not drugs, this is not from pharmaceutical companies. You don't need a prescription. You will feel better than you did at the best you ever felt. Let me just say that. If you're a big walker, you're going to walk further, you're going to walk longer, you're going to walk higher up hills, right? If you lift weights, you're going to add more weights, add more reps. If you're just a weekend warrior and you play whatever you play, you're going to play with more intensity. If you just need to get the laundry basket up the basement steps and to the various rooms to put clothing away, you'll be able to do that with a little bit more vitality. $23.60 for a month. The GLP Gold, $34 a month. Other products are like $70. Bloodflow7.com/Wendy. Okay, that said, in that vein, I think we should talk about bringing down your blood pressure. How many of you have blood pressure problems and you're like, I'd really like to not be on prescriptions for this? What if you could take this from Healthy Cell, Heart and Vascular Health, a microgel once a day, and bring it down naturally? Because that's what you can do. I want to tell you about it. Microgel, it's so easy to digest. Supplements, 165% more absorption. One heart and vascular health gel pack has more nutrients in it than 13 pills. It has your B vitamins. It has your CoQ10, your magnesium, your potassium. It has your fiber, your vitamin K, resveratrol, omega-3s, grapeseed extract, and beetroot. Right? Bring down your blood pressure. Period. Pretty good. Healthycell.com/Wendy. Healthycell.com/Wendy. I'm going to say what it says. Your body uses cholesterol to build healthy cells, but high cholesterol levels can increase your risk of heart disease, the leading cause of death in the United States. High cholesterol causes fatty deposits to form and grow in your blood vessels, which restricts blood flow. It's almost like peanut butter chocolate, right? Our heart and vascular health combines all the things that I just told you to bring down blood pressure and to also improve your cardiovascular health. This is the Mac Daddy of them all. I love focus and recall, but let's come on, the heart. Healthycell.com/Wendy. I'm cranking it up a notch. I'm ready for you guys to be healthy and to live forever and to get me 2,000 rumbles stat. How about it? 4,000 people. We're killing. We're breaking the internet. 1.37 rumbles. Let's go. You guys are small but mighty. Senate floor for a vote. Maybe sometime next week. Earth to John Thune. Come in, John Thune. Welcome back to the Wendy Bell radio program. GOP will bring SAVE Act to the floor to put Democrats on the record on voter ID. Yeah, about that. We already know none of them is going to vote for it. You know what? Who might? Fetterman. Right? That's still going to leave us 6 votes shy, even if you could beat Lisa Murkowski with a pipe and have her vote the way you want, right? I don't see it happening. So you know what you do? Oh, there's that wild thing that you can do. It's called show up for the talking filibuster, John. Now, see, this is going to require a little bit of work. There's going to be some scheduling because the Democrats are going to have to explain themselves. They're going to have to explain themselves in the course of one legislative day, which means they can talk and talk and talk and talk and talk and talk and talk. They could talk for 60 days if they want to talk. I'd love it. I'd love to hear what any of these vacuous morons have to say. But you got to be there. You have to be there. You have to fill the seats. You can't go away on the weekends. You're going to have to put off that summer vacation possibly, or that spring break with the grandkids. It's called Save America. Save America. Save America. Personal vacation. I don't really like to work that much. You know, I like my 3 days a week off. I'm going to go with Save America. I might be in the minority if I was a Republican senator. Senate Majority Leader John Thune has announced that he will bring the Save America Act to the floor of the Senate, despite claiming that he does not have the votes to pass the legislation with or without utilizing the talking filibuster. Because he lacks the votes to accomplish passing the bill with the talking filibuster, he will instead bring it to the floor with a 60-vote threshold. Don't fall for it. Of course, we need to know exactly who is refusing to enforce the talking filibuster. That is how we get this bill passed. People got to show up. They got to talk. Republicans got to show up, got to get their heinies in the seats. It's the way it goes. Well, let's listen to John Thune. I'm not sure I feel the urgency here, right? I never feel from this guy who's like, look, I understand the president's idea. And this is what he wants. And he's called me and he's been like, Johnny boy, look, I got to get this across the finish line. I'm signing nothing else until you guys get off your duff and get it to pass. So get it to pass. Roger, copy. And I'm ready to do that. Now, you never get that from John Thune. He's sort of like, well, you know, maybe next week. Let's listen.
We don't have the votes either to proceed, get on a talking filibuster, nor to sustain one if we got on it. But that is just a function of math, and there isn't anything I can do about that. I mean, I understand the president's got a passion to see this issue addressed, as we all do.
Does he understand that, though?
Well, we've conveyed that to him, but we will continue to make that argument because I think it's important that everybody understand that this really is about the votes, it's about the math, and I'm for better or worse, I'm the one who has to be the clear-eyed realist about what we can achieve here. And so we'll continue to convey that, and I think that we're going to have the fight on the floor. We're going to vote on this, we're going to put it up, and we'll give the Democrats the opportunity to cast their vote on whether or not they think non-citizens ought to vote in American elections.
Is that the sound of like outside the box thinking? Is that like Mr. Leader? You're like, that guy, whatever he's got going on, I love it. It's so energetic and moving. Like, yes, 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 yes. No, you're like, what a limp, meh, vanilla, zero. Hey, John, how about you do this? You're the leader, Senate Majority Leader. I'm just going to go with, I don't know, maybe you lead. Maybe you talk to the people. Maybe you say to Tom Tillis, look, Tom, I know you're on the way out, and I know you hate Donald Trump. I mean, I know you hate Stephen Miller and are totally obsessed with him more, but I know you hate Donald Trump, right? However, I'm going to tell you how this is going to play, because if you don't vote yes, I'm going to make your life an everlasting nightmare. I don't know how he would do it. Be creative. Be devious. Be a dealer. Wheel and deal. What can you offer? What's going on? Instead, he's like, we don't have the votes, so it's not going to work. Can you imagine if you showed up at your job, right? Your boss is like, okay, here's what we're going to do. And you're like, well, I mean, I guess we could try. I don't really think it's going to work. So, I mean, like, I don't even know why I would try, but it's not going to work. So let's just go to have lunch, right? That's what they're doing. How about some of these other things that haven't passed that we're waiting for? How about the Stop the Sexualization of Children Act? Yeah, because that passed the House with flying colors. And it went to die on John Thune's desk in the Senate. How about the Deporting Fraudsters Act of 2025? I mean, it kind of feels timely, though it's 2026. So, hey, John, what's the hang up, bro? How about DHS funding? Oh, border security bills for 2026, sitting unfinished for more than 200 days. What do they do, guys? What does your government do? I'm not saying a whole lot. And the ones that we do see, if they are there, they're accused of being drunk. Mazie Hirono. It literally is a frat house. The Senate, to me, it's like being at the Sigma Chi house at the University of Colorado, right? Where your feet stick on the floor and you hope it's because of beer. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, does the Senate not have the votes, or are they just too lazy to work? And you got to hear Glenn Beck. I caught wind of this yesterday, and he's absolutely spot on. Worst case scenario, they've gotten really accustomed to having to do nothing. Right? Next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. Little fussy. Little fussy. All right, so I haven't splurged and gotten Cozy Earth sheets yet, but my new ghost bed mattress, I want to tell you about this. So because it's in my son's room, I'm clearly not sleeping on it. He has, and he says it's fantastic. I took my computer up yesterday, kind of got comfortable and was going to do some work. And I was like, let me just put the computer down for a minute and just kind of lie here and see what it's. You know, when you're snoring and you're going like this, and you wake yourself up and you're like, you're like, look around. because you're like, nobody else saw that, right? And then you pretend that everything's good. Like, anyway, as I was saying, where is it just me? Okay. So anyway, I did that. And I was like, oh, this is like the tsetse fly of all things sleep. The minute you sit on it, lie on it, you're out. And that's what you want. You want just the most luxurious, affordable, wonderful night's sleep. And that's Ghost Bed. Ghostbed.com. Use my name. Use a slash, in fact. Ghostbed.com/Wendy. They're throwing an extra 10% off. They're already ridiculously low prices of the season. And you're going to notice that the prices of these mattresses aren't as high as some of the other companies. And you wonder why? Because when you get it and you set it up and it expands to its full girth, I'm telling you what, it's something special. So ghostbed.com/Wendy, extra 10% off if you use my name, Wendy, in the checkout. And you get 101 nights to try it. Who does that? 101 nights, which is fantastic. I got ghostbed.com. So I got an email from Kelly Morgan from Morgane's Fitness. And she does Transformation Tuesday. So she did one. And this is a little bit different than others. We've seen the men who had quite a bit of weight and belly fat primarily to work off to lose. And we've seen women who had 40, 50 pounds to drop. Well, what if you don't have that much weight? You just don't really feel all that great about how you look. Well, another rock star to celebrate Transformation Tuesday. This woman wants to stay anonymous. She's 73 years old. She gained 1.5 pounds of muscle learning how to work out for 90 days with Kelly, eating the right foods. She gained muscle. She lost about 3 pounds of fat. And 3 pounds of fat on somebody who's not a big person, that's a lot of zhuzh. And she's like, look, I feel confident. She's like, I can now go into a gym. I understand how to exercise. I get what to do. And at 73, you're never too old to get in charge of you. And so Morgane's Fitness, MORGAINZ fitness.com. This is where you go from the privacy of your home, and you do this via Zoom or what have you. And she shows you what to do and how to do it. And you do it for 3 months. And I don't know, it works. Amazing. Morgainsfitness.com. Brock, how the hell are you?
Fantastic.
1.61, 390 to go. 2.5 minutes. What you doing?
What I hate about the Senate is he's protecting the people who Lisa Murkowski, she knows the bill isn't going to pass. She votes for
it.
The Save America Act. It just tells you right there it's for show. And then turn around and be like, well, wait. You voted for the bill, but you won't vote for the talking filibuster. Numbers aren't adding up. And all the people coming out, like Tim Scott, now he's for the talking filibuster. Because you're getting pushback, right? You're getting pushback. You're realizing your people. I think they ought to just come out. Trump ought to come out and say it. I don't care if I'm president or not. I will
do everything I can to ruin your life.
To get you out. Tom Tillis?
Yes.
I don't care if you run for dog
you.
catcher ever again. I am gonna actively root and campaign against you. And do some polling. If I'm Trump, I'm throwing polls out in Alaska, North Carolina, and be like, look, and I'm gonna be there and look, this is your guy, your woman, and they're refusing to vote the way you want it. Because you know how the polls are gonna show. 80% of Americans want this.
Just simping, Trump will lie about anything. What did he lie about? I'm not plugged into your conversation, but I am curious. As my eye goes right to that message, he'll lie about anything, okay?
Okay, then hold him to the same standards as the rest of every other politician. whatever, he hasn't, but
So frustrating, isn't it? People are saying you're the man. Oh, please.
who?
I don't know. People who obviously need head examined.
Why? 'Cause I
Ford
know
track bills that have been passed by the Republicans in the House have gone to the Senate Republican graveyard to be reduced to tumbleweeds that blow across the landscape. I'm telling you, and we've said this for the longest time. You can at least respect Democrats. They suck always. Every now and again, somebody comes along and you're like, hey, wait a minute, what's going on here? John Fetterman. But by and large, you know exactly what you're getting. These people don't deviate. They're given their script. The new script for Chuck Schumer now is that he can't vote for the Save America Act. This is all because it's Elon Musk. It has to do with Elon Musk. And I'm like, what? Did you get the wrong PDF from Susan Rice or whomever the puppeteer is? Like, did you open the wrong attachment, Chuck? Because that's not what we're talking about. Think about it. People who will vote against preventing people who are not from America deciding who America's leaders are. And they're like, that's a bridge too far. I'm sorry. I don't know how I could possibly get behind that, right? Hey, Sheila, can you? No, Bill. That's crazy talk. Like, what are we doing? It's not even, these are the people, by the way, who didn't even read the bill before they're like $3.5 trillion during COVID. Makes perfect sense. Great idea. Let's do that right now. The bill was 2,500 pages long. How many of them read it? Oh, that's right. They don't. They don't. I think that you and I have been paying for this great fraternity for a long time. And we're not even invited to the freaking toga parties. We just have to pay for them. It's crazy. So they don't want to make America great again. Senate Republicans don't want to get off their butts and do the work. Can you imagine representing hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people based on your district, and then phoning it in, not listening, not paying attention to your constituents, not showing up to vote, voting in ways that are completely contrary to the people who elected you? Like, could you even imagine? Are you so insulated on Capitol Hill that you don't know what the rest of America is saying or doing or feeling or wanting? And worst case scenario, don't care. They don't care. Glenn Beck, though, this is very interesting. And I appreciate this insight. We're going to kind of pepper him with a couple other voices. You're going to hear a little cameo of Chuck. Sorry. It's necessary, though, so you can hear what today's talking points are. So interesting. But Glenn Beck was like, look, does the Senate really not have the votes, or are they simply too lazy to show up and do the job? They're so used to collecting the benefits. They're so used to flying wherever they want to go and doing whatever they want to do and having these long breaks that it's like, yeah, I really don't think so. Do they not understand what Save America means? Here's Glenn Beck.
You know why they're really not passing this? This is the God's honest truth. This is why they're not passing it. I think some of them know that, you know, where their bread is buttered, and they need to keep this loosey-goosey. So, you know, maybe they benefit from a few votes that come their way. I think that's a possibility. But I really think the reason why they won't send is because it's too much work. I honestly believe it is because they are too damn lazy. Because here's what the standing filibuster requires. It requires that they keep the session going, which means you have to have a quorum. You have to have enough Republicans and Democrats in the Senate, the well of the Senate, 24 hours a day while this is going on. If you don't, then it ends the legislative day. And so then you're screwed. You have to keep the filibuster going and never end the legislative day, even if it goes for 60 days. You have to be there. People have to be manning that place 24/7. That means the senators are not going to go home. They're not going to have weekends. They're not going to be able to fly back to their constituents and their families and their fundraisers and everything else. That means they're going to be locked in 24 hours a day, and somebody has to be there. It's going to take a lot of work for the management of, the Republicans. Hey, who's on duty? When are you going to be there? When am I going to be there? Who's next?
Some of the men, some of the fathers in my son's travel soccer league are better with spreadsheets than the freaking Senate. You mean to tell me that John Thune can't create some kind of I don't know, some kind of a schedule where you have always 51 people? That's a quorum. That's what you need to be able to do. 51 people at all times in the Senate? You mean to tell me that the Senate Republicans are unwilling to put together the work, how that would work? So your your granddaughter's graduating from high school and you need that time. Okay, well, we'll make sure we fill in for you. You've got soccer moms and dads all over the country making scheduled spreadsheets for things. And it's too much work, maybe, for us to show up and actually do the job. Are you kidding me? I'd camp on the freaking Capitol steps in a tent if it meant saving America. They're like, well, no. Here's Senator Mike Lee again. I appreciate this guy and I appreciate the things that he says, but I don't know why you're talking to us, dude. You're closer to you're closer to the Senate Republicans who are dragging their feet on this than we are. What are you doing to get them across the finish line, sir?
All right, so we're one step closer now to getting the Save America Act on the Senate floor. How exactly that's going to happen? Well, we're still working on that. There's a lot of uncertainty and some concern, but we're working on it. The important point right now is for us to refocus our energy on making sure we get the best arguments we can possibly put forward on this bill. Now, look, I still believe the very best shot we've got at doing this is invoking the talking filibuster. Make Democrats stand up, get recognized, and speak. If they want to filibuster the bill, don't give it to them for free. Don't let them have the benefits of the filibuster while they're napping or on vacation or whatever else it is that they do. Make them actually show up and speak. I'm going to continue to argue for that. I mean, regardless of what Senate Republican leadership thinks, I'm not going to back away from the fact that I think that is the best possible chance of passing this bill, perhaps the only way. But regardless, we got to be prepared for what it is that happens when it gets to the floor. So let's continue to advance the arguments for the bill itself and for the strategy that we think is best. If not us, who? If not now, when? And we've got an 85-15 issue that is also critical to preserving the integrity of our elections. Let's get this done. Don't slow down. Let's redouble our efforts. This thing is hitting the floor likely in less than a week. Let's make it happen.
I don't know why you're talking to us. See, we show up every day, Mike. We're there. We're here. Where are you? Where are you? Where's the push? Where's the anything? You guys are the biggest bunch of zeros that I've ever seen. And then you've got, of course, Glenn Beck coming back. And he's like, look, senators, they're used to doing very little. They're going to have to show up and do their jobs. And I'm not so sure we have enough who care to show up to do the job. That's a problem.
It's going to take management, and it's going to take people with stamina and people who actually believe in something. And I honestly don't think there's enough senators in Washington, D.C. that actually believe in the Constitution. This Save America Act is the most apt name bill I have heard in a long time. The Patriot Act wasn't patriotic. It wasn't. The Inflation Reduction Act had nothing to do with reducing inflation. The Save America Act does. You secure the vote and you can save America. You don't secure the vote, you don't have a country left because no one will believe the elections.
100%. It's almost like we've already crossed that bridge a couple times. They tried to tell you were an election denier. They tried to say you were pushing the big lie. They threw a lot of people in jail for it, too. So friendly. right? Chuck Schumer, oh my gosh, we're against this. It's un-American, right? I want to hear what his new talking points are. He doesn't want to work. He'd rather be outraged about the SAVE Act, which he admits will purge tens of millions of illegal voters from the voter rolls. Say what?
It's about voter registration. It makes it allows ICE to kick tens of millions of people off the rolls, and they don't tell them until Election Day, and you show up and you say, you're not registered anymore, you're not registered here, you're not on the rolls. And they say, I didn't know that. This is a bill that destroys the country, and it is not about showing ID when you show up to vote. It's about the voter registration rolls, destroying them, purging them, not letting people know, and taking the rights in a algorithm put together by ICE, put together by Doge and Musk. It's an outrage, and that's why so many people don't want to pass.
It's an outrage, Chuck Schumer. Does he even know what he said? What did he even say? How did Elon Musk and Doge get in on that game? He says, ICE wants to kick tens of millions of people off the voter rolls. Well, how would ICE kick anybody? Oh, you mean Immigration's Custom Enforcement officials whose job is to go and track down illegal aliens who've come into this country illegally and who have committed crimes, by and large. That's the first wave of effort in getting rid of these people. So Chuck Schumer is basically telling you, we need these people to vote. Duh, like we're not going to win if you guys don't let this happen. It's an outrage, he says in Glenn Beck. Finally, with Glenn Beck, he's like, look, this whole 7 days to find out who the winner is with our elections, voting, stopping the count, restarting the count. California doesn't have an answer for a month. It never used to be this way. This cannot be the new normal, period.
This wasn't a problem when I was a kid. And we also never, ever heard, well, we may not know the election results for a week. We never heard that. I never heard that. You voted, we counted, we got the total, sometimes in the middle of the night or the next morning, but we knew. Now we don't. How is it we can secure our financial transactions? How is it you can secure billions of dollars online, moving from bank to bank, country to country? You can do that every day, but we somehow or another cannot secure our own vote. Wow, that doesn't seem logical to me.
You know what's not logical about that? How is it possible that Amazon can deliver 20 million parcels every single day all over the world, and yet we can't get election results in 24 hours? Riddle me that, right? Well, when we come back, I got a little long in this segment, but I want you to hear Harmeet Dillon. She is the Deputy Attorney General for Civil Rights. And she has a little something to weigh in on here, having watched the lunacy of election malfeasance, fraud, corruption, all of it in Maricopa County. She's like, yeah, tip of the iceberg. Then Rob Finnerty, he's kind of a boyfriend, over at Newsmax. Well, he says something very interesting about CNN that I think you need to hear about, because they got invited by Iran to come inside the country and cover the war. And CNN thinks that's a good thing. Next. Like if the devil himself called you and he's like, look, I could call all sorts of different people, but I want you to be the one who takes the elevator south with me, okay? You're going to come and I'm going to give you an up-close personal tour of hell. Nobody else will get it. What do you think? CNN would be like, yes. And we're all like, you know that's not a good thing. That means that the devil trusts you more than he trusts most people. I don't know if you want to have that. That's exactly what's going on. 100%. CNN gets the phone call from the Ayatollah's kin or whatever. Hello, we want to invite you to come to Iran. And they're like, yeah. What? It's wild. Okay. Have you guys ever seen $8,000 in gold? I haven't. Actually, I have, because I'm holding it in my hands. That's what this is. That's what these are. This is about $5,000. This is about $8,000 in gold right here.
Really?
Mm-hmm. These are little mini. They're 1/10 of an ounce. So an ounce, half of an ounce. Oh my. These are sold out where I look. These are from Canada. They have the Queen of England on them. There's her little mug, her profile. And this is what I got when I said to Texas Bullion Exchange, I have some money that I'd like to not have sitting doing nothing for me in my savings account. So what do you say? What can you get me for that? Well, what would you like? Would you like some gold? Would you like some silver? I'm like, yes. And they put together a portfolio for me, and I was like, yes. And I signed some paperwork. And about a week later, bing bong at the door is the UPS guy with a heavy box. And I'm like, how you doing? It's one of two things. Ammo that Joe's buying from Natchez or whoever he buys it from. Or gold and silver. And it was gold and silver. And this is what it's like. Okay. So it's super fun to have a tangible asset with your money. And the value of gold and silver and platinum and palladium is such that it is a super, super smart investment. WendyLovesGold.com. These are my people. I'm their girl. These are my number one sponsor of the show. They sponsor the program and the podcast. And there's a reason. I believe in what they do. I would not be a customer. And it's so much fun. It's so much fun. So if you're sitting on money and you're like, I don't know what to do with it. It's burning a hole in my pocket. It's going nowhere fast. 855-927-5557. Put your money to work for you and get something fantastic, physical to touch. WendyLovesGold.com. WendyLovesGold.com. It's so pretty. It almost looks fake.
Almost looks like someone's getting pushed down the stairs.
Isn't that beautiful? I went online to try to see what, and you can't find these. These are kind of hard to find right now. And this is the bigger one. And it's all, and it's all packaged beautifully. You wouldn't know. Wouldn't know that was gold. I do like me some gold. Okay. Literally 25,000 packages. Amazon can deliver 833,000 packages an hour. And John Thune can't get people to get their asses in their chairs to pass this. Really? So the Assistant Attorney General for Civil Rights, Harmeet Dillon, tells Chanel Rion about the egregious incompetence that she witnessed as an observer just in the 2024 election in Maricopa County, Arizona. Or excuse me, yes. Was it Maricopa County? Yes, Maricopa County, Arizona. And it's Fulton County, Georgia. Okay, just had to get that straight. She's like, look, welcome back to the Wendy Bell Radio program, by the way. She's like, look, it's not just the 2020 election that was completely ridiculous. It happened again in 2022. It happened again in 2024. And the question is, do we live in a world where there are far too many people in charge who are simply incompetent? Like legitimately have no earthly idea what they're doing? Or is it purposeful, slow walk, gum up the works, do nothing quickly, run out the clock, and then when it's too late, be like, well, we'll try better next time. Here's Harmeet Dillon.
Whether it's fraud, whether it's incompetence, either way, that kind of thing really decreases the confidence of voters in the outcome of elections, which is a tragedy for any functioning republic or democracy. And we have to put a stop to that. Everybody should look at the outcome of an election and accept its results, feeling confident that you have a competent government doing their job and not just treating this like some second or third class right. It's a first class right in this country to vote and to have the ability and confidence that your vote is being counted once and only with American citizens.
A competent government. She says the American people, it's a first class right to believe that you have a competent government. that isn't asleep at the wheel or high on drugs or having gay sex in a Senate conference room or showing up drunk or not showing up at all. Or maybe they're in a nursing home, or maybe they have like statue disease like Mitch McConnell, right? Or maybe they're just dullards like Chuck Schumer. Shouldn't you, I don't know, have a competent government? I think so. Rob Finnerty yesterday was great. He's talking about this Operation Epic Fury in Iran. And he's like, it seems so wild to me. It's almost surreal that CNN is like celebrating that they got the phone call from like the Ayatollah's BFFs. And they're like, hey, hello, this is Iran. Is this CNN? Yes, it is. Well, we'd like to offer you, come to Iran and we'll give you exclusive access to whatever. And CNN's like, wow. That's fantastic. In what world? Is that not the biggest bit of ridiculous irony? Here's Rob Finnerty setting it up on the tee.
I honestly can't believe that people still watch CNN and think they're getting honest news coverage about anything, or that there are still people who consciously turn on the TV and deliberately, by their own free will, put on CNN and think they are not watching our little American version of state-run regime media, news that is meant to manipulate and not inform. I think we've all watched it at one point or another at the airport or at a bar. There was a time when CNN was okay, but that time was a long time ago. And we played this last night, but here's just the latest example of CNN being completely out of sync with reality.
CNN is the first network inside Iran since the start of the war with the U.S. and Israel with the government's permission there in Iran. And this morning, CNN's Fred Pleitgen sat down for an exclusive interview with a top Iranian official, the foreign policy advisor to the office of the supreme leader. Fred Pleitgen is in Tehran. And just a note, as I mentioned, CNN operates in Iran with the permission of the government there as required under local regulations, but maintains full editorial control over what it reports.
Oh, yeah, sure. Like it's 1992 and CNN is bragging to their audience that they were the only network invited into Iran by the Iranian regime to cover the war, like it's a good thing. And I can picture the executives at CNN running down the hall, so excited to tell everybody that they were, out of all the networks that Iran could have chosen, Fox, Newsmax, MS Now, CNN was the only American network invited to cover Iran from inside Iran, completely missing the irony of why Iran picked CNN in the first place.
Because when it comes to the sock, CNN is the best, right? So what you have is ineffective government and doesn't want to make America great again. And these are Republicans, right? Wolves in sheep clothing. And then you have a media apparatus that's meant to cover for that. That's meant to smoke screen and give you every narrative contrary to what this president wants. And they're hoping if they can just continue with the cheat, if they can just limp to November and get this bad boy across the finish line, meaning no SAVE Act, and yes, as many illegal aliens as possible can vote. That's the game plan. That's the strategy. That's your government and your propaganda media hard at work, screwing you over and stabbing you in the back. Hour number 2 of the Wendy Bell radio program. Imagine being so clean, so squeaky clean, that the deep state has to spy on you and everyone you know to try to come up with dirt to smear you. And they can't. Oh, because that would be the FBI versus Donald Trump. Next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. This hour is brought to you by, Weaponization 101. When they accuse this administration of weaponizing against people, I had to laugh. I can only imagine what Kash Patel thought. He's like, I've been more spied on other than Donald Trump than everybody. And they still got nothing, which is beautiful. All right. I want to talk to you guys about my collagen peptides that I am taking in my drink with my MCT Wellness, and I'm about to start drinking it now. This is part of my weight loss regimen and weight, let's say maintenance. If you've got a couple pounds to lose just to feel a little bit better, This thing that I'm doing, I put all of the sponsors, all of the products that I'm taking, Brock's put them in the notes section underneath the video box. So after you hit the Rumble button, which is that thumbs up, and you follow us, woohoo, read about what we're doing here. What I'm doing here is I'm taking Dr. Gundry's MCT Wellness. This is his weight loss drink. It's a dietary supplement. It's meant to do very specific things for you, and the least of which is to make you not eat so much. So this is a fantastic dietary supplement. I drink this instead of lunch. So this is my lunch with collagen. And I use Native Path collagen. Get getnativepath.com/Wendy. You're going to get discounts on all of these things when you go and you use my name or use the promo code. Why do I drink this? Why do I want this? Let me tell you quickly, first off, about the collagen, because I think it's easy to not know how much you need this. We've got a lot of different collagen in our bodies, but yet it all diminishes as we get older. With over 8,000 five-star reviews, getnativepath.com/Wendy. Their original collagen peptides powder has transformed the health and well-being of millions of people worldwide. And that's not a joke. Collagen is the most abundant protein in the body. It's essential for the health of your bones and your joints and your skin and your hair and your nails and your digestion and all of it. Through supplementation, you are restoring your body's natural collagen levels so that you can achieve your wellness goals faster. So this is one of these little collagen peptides powders. It's for bones, joints, skin, hair, nails, and digestion. And I put this together in there, and that's it. Thehealthyfat.com/Wendy. It's delicious. This is Dr. Gundry's 70-pound weight loss drink. And the collagen peptides are just something that I think, especially for the development, what I see is like the beginning of crepey skin on my arms. I'm like, hell no, we won't go. That's what I'm drinking. So those two things, thehealthyfat.com/Wendy, you'll get a discount there. And then get nativepath.com/Wendy. I love it. They're good companies and they do good work for you. And then you find that you don't eat so much. And then when it's time for dinner, you'll eat a moderate dinner. And if you don't snack after 7, which I kind of failed at last night. Joe keeps buying the stupid bags of pistachios.
Would you look at that?
And
a man just got blamed.
Yeah. I don't know if this is centered. It seems like it's not. There we go. Sorry, you can hop back in there.
A man just got blamed.
He does it because I know that I love them. And then he tries to wrap it in this, but it's a good fat. I'm like, there's a lot of fat in nuts. He's like, yeah, it's pistachios. It's a good fat. I'm like, right. And then Murphy sits there and he looks at me and he's like,
well, Murphy should get pistachios are the 1%er nuts. Those and cashews.
What?
They're expensive.
That is just the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
If I have to splurge, I have to splurge on dots. And they're cheap, but they are so good.
They are cheap?
If you go to Costco, if you buy them in bulk.
Oh, sort of like if I buy pistachios there.
They're still expensive. They're cheap. Dots are cheaper than pistachios.
Do you notice that everything's a competition with you?
Is it?
Yes.
How do you figure?
Why is that? There's always a competition, right?
Look,
he wasn't invited. It didn't happen. He doesn't have enough. I wasn't told. He didn't get me any. Why don't you show him your picture?
Of what?
Oh, you gave them to me. Why am I holding up the pictures? Why?
You have more extra room in there.
No, it's your friend and it's your thing. It's not my thing. So our friend at disinfectwithsniper.com is a phenomenally philanthropic guy. And he has a special affinity for the library system, and specifically the library in his community, which is called Bethel Park here in southwestern Land Before Time. And so there are some framed.
No, they're not framed. They're prints.
They're prints.
They're not up yet.
250th
anniversary birthday.
Patriotic prints that he's selling to raise money. The proceeds go to the Bethel Park Library Foundation or whatever it is.
Yes.
And so we just want you to know, disinfectwithsniper.com. I'll hold one of them up. Oh, shucks. You know what? You're such a...
Well, what you're doing now is say that anyone that buys, if you spend more than $50 on Disinfect with Sniper this month, I just talked to him this morning. He's going to pick at random. Oh, let me get off screen. At random.
That's one.
3 people. If you spend over $50 on Disinfect with Sniper, he's going to pick 3 people at random and get a hold of you, and you're going to win a print.
So I'll show you the other 2.
All of March. That's all of
later.
March.
Disinfectwithsniper.com. So we just thought we'd put that out there. It's no pressure, whatever you want to do. We like supporting our sponsors who give back to
makes no money off.
Give back to the community, and he's that guy. So
Wendy Bell, inspiring solutions to save America one show at a time. Are you ready to get on board?
You told us when it could be time to panic. Well, is it time to panic? Well, let me just tell you, folks, it's never going to be time to panic because we're never going to give up. We're not going to give up on America. America's worth it. America is worth fighting for. America's worth not giving up. And while we have that attitude of not giving up, we are constantly going to be searching, strategizing, coming up with ways to prevail. We've got the basics. We have millions and millions of Americans that are fed up. Can't No, we have to deal with. You're not alone. You're not a singular individual all by yourself out there trying to fight these people by yourself. There are 74 million plus and growing. We're not going to give up on America.
From sea to shining sea, 3 hours of bold truth and excellence. The Wendy Bell Radio Program.
welcome back. Hour number 2 of the Wendy Bell Radio Program is live. And a reminder, hey, if you want to get our podcast, I'd love it if you did. We break it down. All 3 hours are whittled down into their own segments. So we put out 3 segments a day. All the commercial breaks, all the chitter chatter is taken out. And it's just seamless, streamlined information, boils down to about 39 minutes for a segment. And I hope you get it. I hope you join us. And I hope you spread the word. Wendy Bell Radio. Thank you guys. Appreciate you being part of my family. So the idea that Donald Trump was an outsider it's almost like supersized when you take a look at for how long the deep state has had knives out for this president. They had knives out when he was just tinkering with the idea. This outrageous idea. They laughed at it. This is how out of touch your government is. And I guess we shouldn't really be all that surprised that John Thune doesn't realize that it's more than some influencer ecosystem that's putting pressure on passing the SAVE Act. They don't pay attention to what the real world is saying and doing. They must not have the same experiences when they're protected by the walls of Congress. They don't have the same experiences that you and I have. It's clear. And Donald Trump was clearly seen as a joke, as this kind of gauche buffoon. What a clod. What a funny idea. And these egos in the media and in the establishment on Capitol Hill scoffed at him. And then he started gaining traction. And then Donald Trump started holding rallies, and then the rallies became a hot ticket. And then all of a sudden it was 20, 30, 50,000 people, and the deep state was like, oh, snap. Houston, we have a problem. Nobody wants a candidate that the people want if the candidate isn't with the deep state. That's at least their perspective. Donald Trump was the outsider. You well know this. What we don't know is the degree to which the deep state spied on Donald Trump, private citizen Donald Trump, and how deeply they spied on and tried to dig up dirt on anyone in Donald Trump's orbit, which after you hear this story, you'll be reminded that of all of the years that they spent spying on him, all of the operations, and each one has its own name, and they are stupid. If they had found even a whisper of connection of Donald Trump to Jeffrey Epstein, you would have known about it in 2016. And here we are, 10 years later, and they got nothing. It's got to suck. But I got to read you this, justthenews.com, John Solomon breaking this. And literally, I thought it was really interesting the other day when we were talking about John Solomon and how he was detailing how the G-men basically were outside his home. He was coming home from one of his shows or what have you. And these two dudes are outside in a, Chevy Caprice or whatever the heck the government issue car is now these days, or was. And they were basically like at night in the darkness, like, hey, keep doing what you're doing. We can't tell you much, but you're over the mark. You're at the tip of the iceberg. Don't stop, please. And he believes that was Q or Trump or whomever reaching out to him and being like, look, I need you. I need your help. Well, this is the guy who's breaking this story, okay? President Donald Trump and his supporters were targeted by 4 consecutive FBI code-named counterintelligence investigations over the last decade that secretly subjected hundreds of innocent Americans to privacy-invading tactics and essentially treated the man, twice elected president, as a national security threat for most of the first 9 years of his political career, according to interviews and documents reviewed by Just the News. Think about that. 10 years. 4 counterintelligence code-named investigations, trying to beat the bushes to see what will fly out. And they got nothing. FBI Director Kash Patel has personally led the effort to review the operations, codenamed Crossfire Hurricane, Round River, Plasmic Echo, and Arctic Frost that stretched from the summer of 2016 to January 2025. So as he's leading up to the 2016 election that started and it ended as he takes the oath of office in his second term. That's how long they've been spying on, surveilling, and trying to dig up anything they can on this president. Many of the investigative files were hidden from view, even from most FBI agents, because they were marked prohibited access and were controlled carefully by FBI leadership. Patel's search has been aided by whistleblowers inside his agency, a handful of senior bureau executives close to the director, and some members of Congress, particularly Senate Judiciary Committee Chairman Chuck Grassley. Those who have seen the records told Just the News that they chronicle how the FBI's expanded counterterrorism and counterintelligence missions after the September 11th terrorist attacks eventually became hijacked by politics and led agents to deploy tools meant for terrorists and spies against everyday Americans in a bid to find a way to bring criminal cases against Trump. Now, knowing nothing else, weaponization much? Merrick Garland, Chris Wray, and a whole host of tawdry characters. Few inside Trump's orbit were spared from targeting by their stature a dozen members of Congress and their staffers, his future chief of staff, Susie Wiles, journalists, campaign advisors, defense lawyers, even Kash Patel himself. They all had their privacy pierced by warrants and wiretaps. FISA surveillance, phone record analysis, FBI assessments, or grand juries. Many targets and subjects fell under the Bureau's definition of special circumstances targets because they have recognized constitutionally protected privileges. Lawyers, members of Congress, journalists, political figures, even a political consultant turned documentary filmmaker who investigated Hunter Biden's foreign business dealings before joining Trump's 2024 campaign was recently notified he was targeted in a criminal investigation that only recently was shut down. Imagine finding that out. According to letters between Congress and the FBI, reviewed by Just the News, Michael Caputo had his emails and his communications seized in 2023 by a classified subpoena issued about 2 weeks after he joined the Trump campaign. And the email account the Bureau penetrated contained correspondence on the Trump campaign's private strategies and deliberations. The correspondence stated, so not only were they trying to derail him before he got in the first time, not only were they spying on him all throughout those 4 years of his first presidency, they kept freaking spying on him the 4 years he was out. The 4 years they tried to run and gun him, shoot him dead, indict him 4 times, criminally charge him 91 times, trot him out through the world, try to drag him through the mud. And they couldn't keep you away. See, this is why you are hated, I believe, even more than this president. Because they've tried everything in the world to take this guy out. And you fools keep showing back up. Keep saying, thank you, sir, can I have another? Because you know what you want. They didn't want you to get what you want. Patel's FBI has informed Congress that the probe has been shut down, but the question of how many Americans were targeted remains open. At least 1,200 people that fall into categories of special circumstances targets or subject were investigated under assessments by the FBI between 2018 and 2024. 1,200 people. That was during Chris Wray's tenure. An explosive recent audit report to Congress revealed. Methinks the FBI director of old needs to come and sit his ass in a chair, and this time actually be held account for perjury. There's growing evidence that may support a case that the FBI engaged in 9 years in a conspiracy to violate the civil rights of Donald Trump and his supporters under the color of government power. A senior official with direct knowledge of the FBI's current reviews told Just the News. Let me ask you this. If you hadn't shown up November of 2024, none of this would be known. And they'd still be running their shadow government, running cover, surveilling anybody who's against the deep state. Oh my. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, let's hear from John Solomon himself. All right? He talks about Kash Patel and what this guy's gone through to make public these files. Next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. Since I didn't put in a bottom there.
Oh, that's why I thought Solomon was.
No.
How about Trump on his way to Marine One?
Did he walk into the bushes?
No.
Oh.
President Trump just lit a fire under Senate Leader John Thune demanding he be a leader and go get the votes for the Save American Act. He's got to be a leader.
It's almost
he's
like
he's going to get him.
It's almost like Donald Trump was listening to the monologue because I just said that. Thank you, Mr. President. I know you tune in. It's been a while since you phoned. Kind of has me burned a little bit.
You?
Where you been?
Don't
I've
act
been
like you're
waiting
busy.
Let's talk about it. Ireland Contracting, 1-800-NEW-ROOF, IrelandContracting.com. If you or someone you know is thinking about putting in maybe a hot tub, I'm going to rub it in for Brock. He could really use a hot tub. He would really enjoy that, right? So you need what? You've got an electrical panel upgrade. You've got indoor and outdoor lighting, maybe heat cables for your roof, fan installation, car chargers, surge protectors, GFCIs, pool, spa, hot tub hookups, even that pesky plug that's not working. Make a list of your electrical needs and call Dan Ireland over at Ireland Contracting, 1-800-NEW-ROOF. IrelandContracting.com. It's one of the few perks of living in Southwestern land before time. It gives you proximity to the wonderful home exterior renovation experts, Ireland Contracting. And their son just so happens to be a really good electrician.
I don't know if I'd get out of the hot tub.
Is that right? You'd prune up inside? Is that what you're saying? So here's the honest question for you. The chair at the home show, the zero gravity chair that gave you no pain, you felt no pain when you exited it at the home show, or a hot tub?
Gotta love how I only get a choice between one.
Oh, Jesus. You know what? Here's the funny thing. I'm going to do this right now because now I don't care what you think. So that's because you're getting
a hot tub would be nice, but with the hot tub comes the extra, getting the service and stuff. But that chair was special.
Wait until I start telling you guys about a couple of these counterintelligence code-named ops, because you've heard of Crossfire Hurricane. That's Russia. That's Marsha, right? And then Arctic Frost, which looked at Trump's efforts to allegedly offer the Senate alternate electors. It's really not what he was doing. He was just saying, hey, Brad Raffensperger, bud, come on, bro. Really? You know damn well that Joe Biden did not win. You know damn well. Do your job. Ah! So we're going to talk about that. Right?
Hot tub.
You've decided it's the hot tub.
Yeah, because I could get the chair for in here. Probably fall asleep while working.
You could get the chair for work.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I'd want to see you doing. What are you whispering?
What?
What are you saying under your breath? Welcome back to the Wendy Bell radio program. All right, so I want to get to these two intelligence operations, code names that we haven't heard of before. Evidence in the first and the last of the counterintelligence operations is well known and mostly released, Crossfire Hurricane, which probed now disproven Russia collusion allegations, and Arctic Frost, which looked at Trump's efforts to offer the Senate alternate electors ahead of the 2020 election certification on January 6th. But documents declassified last year, again, welcome back to the Wendy Bell radio program. We're reading this article from Just the News, which details seriously how invasively the FBI was weaponized to destroy Donald Trump, period. It's been a 9-year circus, and they haven't stuck the landing. Documents declassified last year show, among other things, that the Obama administration and its intelligence officials misled Congress and others when claiming that the discredited anti-Trump Steele dossier was not used in the 2017 U.S. intelligence community assessment on Russian meddling. We know all about this. What about these two middle operations? The Plasmic Echo investigation that explored whether Trump illegally took classified documents to his Mar-a-Lago home that was after his first term, had already turned up evidence that FBI agents believe did not meet the legal standard for a search warrant. Right? So we're doing something in this Operation Plasmic Echo to create the illusion that Donald Trump took classified documents. Oh my God, he's a crazy man. He's got the nuclear codes. It's over. And then the agents were like, I don't really think we have evidence to launch this investigation. We're like lying to the FISA court, and we're lying to these grand juries saying that we do, but we don't. What are we doing? Yeah, internal documents suggest that was going on. The Biden White House was also directly linked to the classified documents investigation into Trump, despite its denials, records show. Then Attorney General Merrick Garland said he, quote, personally approved the decisions to seek a search warrant for the FBI's unprecedented raid of Mar-a-Lago. Right? It's almost like we knew that. Patel and a small team of inner circle agents have also found proof that the Bureau, under former Director Chris Wray, obtained Patel's own phone records, as well as those of Susie Wiles after Trump announced he was running in the 2024 presidential election and reportedly recorded a call between the future White House chief of staff on the pretense that her defense lawyer consented. So they go to a judge and they're like, look, we talked to Susie Wiles' lawyer, and he said it's totally cool that you listen in on this conversation between my client and me, as we're talking about the 2024 presidential election. In what world? It didn't happen. They broke the law. It is complete, utter garbage, treasonous, traitorous, criminal activity. And Chris Wray lied about it. Of course he did. I want you to hear John Solomon talking about Kash Patel. Basically, it's taken him 13 months to figure out the extent of the surveilling and the wiretapping and the snooping and spying on Trump and all these people in his orbit, including himself. Here's John Solomon.
How did Kash find him?
Whistleblowers in most cases. Yeah, whistleblower agents coming up saying, hey, boss, you don't know this, but when you weren't our boss, we were looking at your phone records. And I think some of these whistleblowers went to Congress, like to Chuck Grassley, Senate Judiciary Committee Chairman. Some came to Kash Patel. And he has some senior executives. Some of his top executives around him now were aware of these things. And so they're helping him find these things in these hidden files that are called prohibited access files. So it's taken 13, 14 months for the current director to find what's in his own agency.
Oh, by the way, if you wonder why people are being fired and escorted out of the FBI headquarters, this might be a reason. Meanwhile, how about the Operation Round River? That might prove the most troubling of all the counterintelligence probes targeting the Trump universe. It's mostly classified at this point, but here's what we know. Agents only recently discovered the opening memo and files for the probe, which was started in the Bureau's Pittsburgh field office by targeting Trump lawyer and former New York City Mayor Rudy Giuliani for his efforts to investigate Hunter Biden's and Joe Biden's exploits in Ukraine. But it then expanded to look at numerous public figures who spoke out about the Biden family corruption concerns. Early whistleblower evidence from that case has raised grave concerns inside Congress about potential civil liberty violations, specifically that people in the investigation may have been targeted solely by virtue of their speech. Like me. How many times did you hear me say, the Biden crime family syndicate? That's enough to woo, woo, woo. Get on the FBI's radar under President Joe Biden. Do you understand now how depraved the deep state is? Do you understand now that a lot of these people are walking along as Senate Republicans, pretending to be Senate Republicans when what they are is deep state protectors? An old guard, if you will, that this president is trying desperately to take down. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, the FBI under Joe Biden and Chris Wray launched these 4 separate operations to destroy Donald Trump. And someone has to be held accountable. More granular data next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. Like, I don't think this is something that we just gloss over. And I say to you, well, you've heard about Crossfire Hurricane. Trump had it all declassified. The binder, remember? The binder led into the raid of Mar-a-Lago. Where's the binder? Why did they need the binder? Because Trump knows it all. He has all the details. He's got to have a kill switch. He's got to have some kind of a mechanism. If anything happens to me, this is basically what he told Iran. If you take me out, if anything happens to me, there have been express directions given to the American military, and you will be destroyed, as will your country. So have at it. I want to tell you guys about Rumble Wallet. Again, this is something that Rumble is very excited about. And it's makes sense. All the news recently of the debanking of President Trump. It was, I believe it was Chase that debanked him first. And then 9 other banks basically said, yeah, all of your money, your accounts, I don't think so. We're really not interested in your business anymore. Really? Billionaire businessman, Trump brand, curious. Rumble Wallet, they're like, don't leave your money unattended. We will keep it safe for you, and we have no control over it, but you can have it and keep it with us. This is what they say. Rumble is the only company that is challenging big tech censorship, and now on the other side, introducing something that will give us protection from the big banks shutting us off. Banks can cancel your account. They can freeze your cards without even notifying you. And that is why they launched Rumble Wallet. It is a wallet that no one can cancel. It is a wallet that supporters can use to instantly tip creators that they like, or to use as however they want to make purchases without any middleman cuts. It's yours. It's only yours. Yours to protect your future and your family. Rumble Wallet. Go to wallet.rumble.com. Wallet.rumble.com. See what you think.
I saw someone ask about a promo code for Sniper. There are no promo codes because you guys are the only ones that get to use Disinfect with Sniper. Disinfect with Sniper was built specifically for you guys.
The website.
Yeah.
So, and
he didn't want anybody screwing anything up or giving the wrong promo code.
I wanted to,
Just made it easier.
I want to tell you guys quickly about a conversation. I was telling Brock about this conversation I was having with Patrick, who's the co-owner with his wife, Ashley, of Tulip Blooms. tulipblooms.shop/Wendy. This is what I've been talking about. This is one of many products they have. This is their velour massage oil. Okay. It has soothing essential oils in it. And I told you, while this was made by Ashley for her husband, Patrick, because I guess he's got some issues and has massage therapy. And she created this so that the masseuse's hands weren't like dragging on his skin, so it glides. It's got this beautiful, soft, velvety glide. Velour. It's like velour. Honestly, it's aptly named. But I don't think of it as a massage oil. I have been using it. I put it on my feet this morning and put on my socks, and then put my feet and my socks in the foot massager that Brock got me for Christmas. Holy.
How was it?
Oh my gosh. If you have dry skin, dry, calloused, cracking feet, if your cuticles are dry, if the area around your nail bed is bleeding or cracked or hard, or your skin itself just feels bleh, like after you do a lot of dishes, if you're using detergents and whatnot, you can get that kind of dry, peely feeling on your fingertips, not with a squirt of this. I'm telling you what, you rub that in, you give it a few minutes to absorb. You're not going to have the greasy feeling and the sheen all over things. You're not going to leave like fingerprints everywhere. It absorbs into your skin so that even after you go to the bathroom, wash your hands or what have you, it has seeped in past your, through your skin down into the epidermis, down into the lower levels, I should say, and has hydrated your skin, and you feel it. It's like, blah, blah, blah. So this is one product. We're going to introduce many different products to you because I love their stuff. I just used this today, which is their Tulip Soothe This is a special kind of gel. And let me see if it'll zero in on it away from my face. No. Okay. Well, it comes with this little thing and you scoop out, it's sort of like ice cream, but you take out a little bit and you rub it in your hands until it gets hot, like warm from your hand. And I rubbed it back here where I have tension and just rubbed it. And the smell, first of all, is beyond soothing. And right now it's taken my little neck headache away. Get it right there. Rubbed it on before the show. So we're going to talk about this. They're going to put together a box of my favorite things for Mother's Day. It's going to be the ultimate indulgence. You're going to love it. They have candles, they have oils, they have body butters, they have bath bombs, all this stuff. Like, it's crazy. Their things are beautiful. tulipblooms.shop/Wendy. Welcome back to the Wendy Bell radio program. So the FBI under Joe Biden was totally weaponized against Donald Trump. And you're sort of like, yeah, we already knew that. I don't want this to be one of those brush off stories. I don't want this bombshell reporting that is exclusively from John Solomon at Just the News, because he's developed a relationship with Kash Patel. He's developed a relationship with Harmeet Dillon. Do you mean to think? Just think about how these 4 counterintelligence code-named operations into President Trump and the people in his orbit and beyond that, how is this not violated like every civil right of this president? Do you think you have the right to run for office and not have your phone lines tapped or your computer surveilled or your car bugged? Do you think you should be able to have privileged conversations with your lawyer about strategy with your chief of staff? Do you think you should be able to presume you have privacy? Because you should, but Donald Trump didn't. And so many people in his inner circle didn't either. That's not okay. That doesn't just get sloughed off. You don't just brush that away like water on a duck's back. That's not how this works. This is why when Donald Trump said, as candidate Trump in 2015, we got to drain the swamp. It's almost like he knew. How is it possible that the ultimate outsider would be the one with all of the insider details? He knows all of it. All of it. And I want to read this to you from Revolver News. It is beyond what John Solomon just reported. And then it connects the dots to not just these maneuverings of the Department of Justice to derail a man and destroy his life, ultimately take it, right? But then it goes back and it weaves in the story of election fraud because it's all connected. Money and power and control. And a deep disconnect with the American people. That's the problem with the deep state. See, these people don't listen to you. They don't care about you. They don't care about your kids. They don't care that the Chicago Teachers Union is more interested in activating in favor of Iran and against this president and this administration than they are about teaching Chicago children about math or science or reading. Right? Revolver.news. Sitting down, this is how this article begins. You thought Obama's Spygate was bad? Well, wait until you get a load of this new plot. It's like every day there's a new door to unlock at the Hoover building. There are more burn bags to identify, more thumb drives to plug into the side of a computer that say, oh my gosh, it is so much more devious and despicable and desperate than you thought. We all watched as the Biden regime used federal law enforcement as a political weapon against American citizens, but nobody was targeted and harassed more than President Trump. both while he was a private citizen and as president of the United States. The bizarre and creepy investigations into his campaign and his allies went way, way beyond any normal oversight and crossed into like North Korean territory. And now a new report is breaking the internet by revealing more juicy details on just how far the deep state went to stop President Trump. Remember, these are the people who told you that because Trump was speaking to Zelensky on the phone in 2017 and congratulating him on winning the presidency of Ukraine. Hey, you know what? You got a lot of corruption in your country, and it has to do with my country too, and we got to get to the bottom of it. We got to figure out what's going on. We got to put an end to that. Impeach him. That's what they did. According to this report, which was reviewed by investigators and members of Congress, the FBI ran several counterintelligence operations over nearly a decade, targeting Trump and people on his team. These operations use surveillance tools normally used on spies and terrorists, and in the process caught hundreds of Americans in their web. Wait a minute, I thought we were supposed to be outraged that some people who are American citizens got caught up in the dragnet called ICE and all of their deportations things, right? Wait a minute, 100, maybe 71 American citizens got detained by ICE agents, and Congress, the deep state, howled over that. But not a peep when it involves hundreds, if not thousands of people who got caught in this deep net in the FBI's attempts to trap and derail President Trump. It's really terrifying how the United States of America, our government, turned into power-crazed tyrants and attacked its own people with intelligence, weapons, and resources that taxpayers, you and I, paid for. This is the kind of stuff you hear about in full-blown communist countries, not America. But sadly, here we are. Just the News dug deep and uncovered the dastardly plot, which we've told you about, 4 consecutive FBI codenamed counterintelligence investigations over the last decade that secretly subjected hundreds of innocent Americans to privacy-invading tactics and essentially treated the man twice elected president as a national security threat. These investigations were part of an even bigger plot that spanned multiple election cycles. And those operations weren't small either. Few inside Trump's orbit were spared from targeting by their stature a dozen members of Congress and their staffers, the future chief of staff, Susie Wiles, journalists, campaign advisors, defense lawyers, and of course, the incoming to be FBI director himself, Kash Patel. This monitoring also snared journalists and lawyers and lawmakers and others. It's almost like Donald Trump opened up the press pool to new media because they were the ones that got hung out to dry in these investigations, demonized, demonetized, deplatformed, fired, almost like we know a thing or two about this. At least 1,200 people between 2018 and 2024 were subjected to this ridiculous kind of surveillance. Well, where is their recourse? Where is their retribution? Where did they get restitution? They were really casting a wide net, looking for a lot of fish, apparently. The report says Justice Department officials are reviewing whether civil rights laws may have been violated during these politicized investigations. So here's the problem. Do you think Pam Bondi is all over this? Like she's all over everything else that hasn't happened yet? There's growing evidence that some may support a case that the FBI engaged between 2016 and 2025 in a conspiracy. This is the grand conspiracy elements, ladies and gentlemen. That's what you're being privy to here. That's what they're telling you in this article. They've got the goods. It's coming out. 2 of the 4 operations we know about, but 2 in the middle, Round River and Plasmic Echo. What the hell were those? Oh. And how much thin facts did they rely on? Subversion. They weren't facts. Did they go to FISA courts? Did they go to grand juries? Were people lied to purposefully? Yes. That's what's going to come out. 100%. Now, as a former television news anchor and reporter, recently recovered, by the way, none of this happens without the covert actions of your legacy media. This is why CNN is delighted to be invited by the whack job evil tyrants inside Iran to come and cover the news from Iran, because they're the mouthpiece of all that is wrong, of everything that you and I voted against, of every reason that Donald Trump said he needed to drain the swamp, right? And by the way, the Wayback Machine is a phenomenal tool, isn't it? Because President Trump told us. He told us they were spying on him. He told Leslie Stahl, Leslie, they tapped me. They spied on my campaign. They hacked into my phone calls. It's obvious. And she was like, no, they didn't. Mr. President, this is 60 Minutes. Well, we can't just say that. Yeah, you can. You can get your, off your duff and go get the documents. I'm happy to show you where you could find them. And she said no to that. Well, we did find factcheck.org. God, it sucks to be factcheck.org when the checks of the facts that they checked suck because they were wrong. Do you guys remember the day, March 4th, 2017? It was, 9 years ago last week. Amazing. Donald Trump pointed out this. Terrible. Just found out that Obama had my wires tapped in Trump Tower just before the victory. Nothing found. This is McCarthyism. President Trump truthed that out or tweeted that out on March 4th, 2017. Followed by this. Is it legal for a sitting president to be wiretapping a race for president prior to an election? Turned down by court earlier. A new low. He was telling you Barack Obama was all over it. And yet nobody paid attention. And then he wrote this same day. I'd bet a good lawyer could make a great case out of the fact that President Obama was tapping my phones in October, just prior to the election, followed by the 4th. How low has President Obama gone to tap my phones during the very sacred election process? This is Nixon-style Watergate. Bad, sick guy. The one person who's told you all along exactly what's going on. The one person they tried to derail, to dethrone, to delegitimize, to demonetize, to throw in prison, and then to bury 6 feet under the guy who's known all along that you showed up for. Not once, not twice, but 3 times. He's told you. And you need the media to never cover it for a successful counterintelligence surveillance operation to be successful. But hey, Iran's going to be reporting, or rather CNN's going to be reporting tonight from deep inside Tehran. Can't wait. This is a scratching of the surface. What don't we know? When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, my friends, will the Senate snail Republicans move on the SAVE Act when they learn how much influence the Communist Chinese Party has on our elections? Maybe so. A game changer next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. It's easy to hate everybody. It's baffling. Honestly, when I went back, because I'm reading this article on Revolver News. This is where it's so interesting to go a little bit further. Brock sends me this article, kind of beefs up John Solomon's reporting, and then brings in why Fulton County and Maricopa County being a part of this is so relevant, right? They needed to steal because they would do anything to get Trump out of office, which is what they did. So I'm reading the comments after the article. And one of them says, Trump is warned about, he's told all along. He knew all along that he was being tapped. And does anybody remember his March 2017 tweets. And I was like, what March 2017 tweets? So I put it in Perplexity. Boom. Up came this article from factcheck.org that collated all of them for us. It was beautiful. It was bing, 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 bing. He was like, wiretap, wiretap, wiretap. Obama wiretapped. Obama spied on my campaign. Right? Because of you guys, because of people out there paying attention. I love that. There's so much more that we don't know. But they don't want to save America, right? They don't want to make America great again. They don't want to work. They don't want to go in for the talking filibuster. They don't want to have to plan the schedule. They don't want to have to do anything. Can we freaking have term limits? And by the way, it takes 5 members of the Senate to recall John Thune and to request a new speaker. So I don't know what that means, if that's going to do anything for us. But let me tell you about the Simkovich Concussion Institute, you guys. SimkovichConcussionInstitute.com. It's a mouthful. And it's a long thing to write into your toolbar. Do it and then bookmark the page. Just, you're on your computer right now. Just go up, open up a new window and put Simkovich, SIMKOVICH, Institute.com. SimkovichConcussionInstitute.com. And then just be like, bookmark. You're good to go. Because somebody in your life is going to have a problem. Somebody in your life is going to need an expert to manage a traumatic brain injury. Someone you can trust. Someone who's going to fix you, who's going to heal you, who's going to get the problem solved. That's what I want. I want action. I want Trump speed when it comes to a brain injury, not Senate snail speed. 412-366-3700. 412-366-3700. SimkovichConcussionInstitute.com. It's in Pittsburgh. Worth the visit, worth the treatment, worth it to get your life back. 100%. I think you guys should say something nice about me, considering I've not been harping.
I've sent you a few texts.
Oh, did you?
Iran has said that they're going to spike oil prices to $200 a barrel.
Okay.
I don't know how many countries get oil from Iran.
Let's ask. Program sounds like Iran feels like one of its last things to do is either lay mines somehow in the Strait of Hormuz to try to torture and threaten anybody, any of these oil tankers trying to pass through. Right. And apparently late last night, early this morning, we got word that the U.S. military was able to take down 10 vessels that were laying these mines essentially in the sea. So if you go over them, everything gets blown to bits and then you've got an ecological disaster. This is what Iran wants. This is their idea of winning, right? Polluting the environment, making things difficult. We're going to spike the cost of oil up to $200 a barrel. Okay. Well, you've got other strategies. You've got dozens of countries now agreeing to circumvent Iran's threats and say, hey, we will release 400 million barrels of oil from our reserves in a move to ease prices caused by the Iran war. Good luck with that, Iran. Good luck with that. See how it's going to work. So as we bounce back to this blistering story, I think, about the influence of what? Not just the FBI, the DOJ, the weaponizing of the government against an incoming or a political candidate, a foe. I mean, they impeached Donald Trump because they thought that Donald Trump was fiddling with Joe Biden as a potential presidential opponent, right? And so they impeached him. That was ridiculous. But Joe Biden's connections to the Communist Chinese Party, CEFC, all of these people, China. We don't talk about that. We don't talk about the millions of dollars that China gave to the Biden crime family syndicate. No, see, you couldn't, because according to Just the News and all of this stuff coming out from whistleblowers deeply embedded in the Hoover building, right, in the FBI, if you did talk about Hunter Biden or the Biden crime family syndicate, you were probably on a list. You were being surveilled. You were being influenced, shut down. Do you see now this tangled web of darkness that is woven its way from government into social media? How many people inside the Biden administration were crossing over and working with Twitter? Thank God for Elon Musk. Thank God, sir, that you bought Twitter. Thank you. You would have never known. Why is it that I don't hear from so-and-so anymore on my social media feed? Oh, I don't know, because there's an active campaign to silence anybody who talks against the deep state. John Solomon says this. He's on with Betty Thompson Johnson. And John Solomon tells him, look, the CIA, the FBI, the DNI, they're all working together right now. These three agencies are working right now on a tranche of documents that show China's extensive manipulation of our elections. Wait, say what? Because that might be enough. Do you think the Senate Republicans who are slow walking the SAVE Act across the finish line, do you think they really want to go on the side of China interrupting or influencing or manipulating our elections? I don't think so. Here's John Solomon.
There's an extraordinary review going on by the CIA director, the FBI director, the director of national intelligence, so Tulsi Gabbard, John Ratcliffe, and Kash Patel. They have found a body of documents that I think will trouble all of us and probably will have a profound effect on the Senate debate over the Save America Act. A lot of senators are sitting up there saying, I don't know if I need to vote for this. I don't know what the politics. Wait a second. When they find out that maybe voter identities in their state databases were penetrated by China and used in influence operations, that may change their mind. And so I think the debate in the Senate could be informed by what comes out in the next few weeks.
So we have the goods. House oversight by James Comer has poured over the financials, the 20 different shell companies, the 9 family members, including Joe Biden's freaking grandchildren, who were given all of these payments. Make sure you keep it under $10,000, though, because we wouldn't want to trigger a suspicious activity report with the banking system, right? We're going to make it so complicated, nobody will ever find out. And remember, 10% always for the big guy. Joe Biden, I never, ever, ever, ever talk to my son about his overseas business dealings. Really? Why are they allowed to get away with it? Why was Hunter allowed to get away with being given a $120,000 diamond? Why did they get a new car? Why did the Biden family get $30 million? See, Donald Trump didn't do any of those things. They were hopeful that they would find he did something. Did he at least kick a dog? Did he spit on somebody? Like, geez, what is it? Seems like we're in a bit of a weather alert.
A tornado alert.
We are getting a tornado alert in southwestern Pennsylvania, ladies and gentlemen. But think about that critically. Think about that critically. They needed to launch 4 consecutive operations over 10 years, and they still couldn't derail Donald Trump. Joe Biden, the paperwork is all there. Fingerprints dirty as stones. Nothing to see here. Come on now. Clear as day. All right, when we come back, hopefully not being swept away by Twister, hour number 3 of the Wendy Bell radio program. You guys talking about blue state blues yet? The exodus from California continues. New Jersey isn't looking good either. Why does everybody want to go to those red states? Next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. That was loud. Let's see what
computer.
That was my phone. National Weather Service tornado warning in this area until 2:30. Take shelter now in a basement or an interior bedroom. Well, quick, honey, let's go out to the mobile home. Let's go set up shop there. Maybe crawl into a ravine. Don't you love all of the common sense things they tell you? But hey, that's good.
It looks pretty ominous over.
Is that so?
I'll work through it.
Oh, you're such a good man. I'll watch the skies. Oh!
Right?
That is a sky that's ripe for a tornado. Here, I'll take a video and share with you guys. Because you've never seen a sky like this. Stupid, right? Let's see.
I'll just take a picture.
Oh, see? Sometimes you ask and you receive, and sometimes you don't have to ask. Therefore, I can print more. I'm going to run quickly to the bathroom, Brock. I'll be right back.
You can't really tell, but it looks pretty bad. Maybe my pay will go up since we're in distress and I really can't leave. Maybe I'll get some like combat pay or something. Oh, it's moving. Skies are moving fast. Sheila. We got Earl on the scene, getting sucked away. We don't see too many tornadoes around here. Yeah, tornado pay. Listen, no one's making light of tornadoes. They typically don't hit around here because of the terrain. But one time I lived on a boat for a couple of years, and a local downtown Pittsburgh, I probably lived via the water, half a mile from downtown, and we saw a tornado come up the river. We're sitting out there just drinking beers, sitting on the edge of the boat because it was a houseboat, sitting on it, watching remember the tornado that hit Mount Washington?
I don't think I was here for that. It was before I moved here.
Were you here for the flood?
It was like 30 years ago.
No, it wasn't.
Is that right? Maybe I'm thinking about something
You're thinking
else.
about something different. We watched sitting on the front of the boat, drinking beers, watching it come down the river. And I remember Kate saying to me, well, what did you do? Why didn't you go? I'm like, where was I going to go? I was on a houseboat. Like, at some point, you have to just go, it is what it is. But they're funny, not funny to watch, but they're interesting to watch because it just went, whoop, just hopped right off of the water and made the beer drinking a little more exciting.
All right, let me tell you guys about Lean, Brickhouse Nutrition. You know how I feel about them. Brickhouse Nutrition, take lean.com, promo code Wendy. That's how you're going to get it. This is their offering. This is them saying to you, look, if you've got significant weight to lose, we want to be your partner and we want to do it safely and effectively for you. That doesn't involve drugs. And that's what's great. So the doctors behind this weight loss supplement with Brickhouse Nutrition have developed a product that actually is kind of exciting because it does multiple things. One, it's been shown to lower your blood sugar, which is a big deal for a lot of people. It also burns fat by converting it into energy. which I'm all about. Like, I'll take 5, right? And it also curbs your appetite and quiets your cravings. And if that sounds like something that you would enjoy and benefit from, and you would enjoy losing, what do you want, 20, 40, 50, 80 pounds? Take lean.com, promo code Wendy. Take lean.com, promo code Wendy. That's going to take you 20% off and free rush shipping. Just for you. I do like them very much. Our weight loss products have different offerings, different ingredients. And so you might want to review before you try one, which you like best, which you think would work best for you. The ingredients are listed right on them.
No, Wendy and I do not have shelter here.
It seems like it's moved off pretty quick.
We'll work through it. Right. Ending the show because of it. And if everything goes black, then yeah. But I mean, really, at this point.
It's like
pay increase for working under dire.
It's like fuzzy. You see the clouds? They're
Yeah.
like fuzzy.
Well, it's gray now, but there were no while you were in the bathroom, the clouds just went away. Like now, there's no real clouds, it's just gray.
See what the radar says.
Amanda says her yard's flooded. Great. There goes my roof.
Her yard is flooded. Ugh. Closest strike in the last 30 minutes, a mile away.
Oh, you can hear it now. Here comes the hail. Brimstone's next.
You know, I got to call Dan Ireland. You just reminded me.
You might as well wait till the storms pass. You might need them for more.
That's
diabolical.
It's
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Wendy Bell, America's anchor mom, fighting for America 1 hour at a time. Welcome to the family. She once hosted a 3-hour show in just 15 minutes. She once intimidated the Electoral College to audit itself. Her monologues are so sharp, they're considered a concealed carry weapon. Fact-checker sites routinely issue her a retraction a week in advance. Even her commercial breaks trend on social media. Her freedom of speech has diplomatic immunity. She doesn't just drain the swamp has to ask for cab fare. Wendy Bell is the most interesting conservative woman on radio. Keep rumbling, my friends. 3 hours of bold truth and excellence. You've just signed up for the WBR Army. Strap in. This is the Wendy Bell radio program.
Welcome back to the Wendy Bell radio program. You know, I want to ask you an honest question. And think about this. You don't have to, you don't have to answer right away. Well, I won't hear you anyway, but tell me one thing that the Democratic Party has done well. Tell me one thing that Democrats have done that is good for you. That's good for you, your family, someone you love, your finances, your safety, your peace of mind, your idea of security. What is it? Because I got nothing. I don't know how you can do consistently and predictably so many things that are contrary to common sense, so many things that are bad for the American everyday man and woman, of which I am one, and then expect us to believe that your candidates are being chosen over Republicans anywhere in this country. I mean, it just doesn't make sense to me. You cannot be the party that shoots up the national debt by $8 trillion, shoots up gas prices by $1.11 a gallon, right? Shoots up inflation, plummets the stock market or what have you, craters the quality of education, and delivers to America's youth this idea that if you cut stuff off or stitch it on, you can change who you are. Like, make that make sense to me. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. And it doesn't make sense for businesses to do business in these blue states. It's just not. You've got crippling regulations and rules. You've got sky-high taxes because there's only so many wells that they can dip into to satiate their outrageous budgets and continue living high on the hog by not showing up, right? And so you have enough corporations that are like, I really like the climate here in California. It's beautiful, but it's not worth it anymore. What am I talking about? Well, another monster American corporation has ditched a blue state. Let's start in New Jersey, and then we'll fade left over to the left coast. Another monster American corporation is ditching a blue state in favor of a friendlier, more business-welcoming red state. And the board voted unanimously to move domiciles, as they say. So wherever they're incorporated. ExxonMobil. You guys heard about this? This is significant. And it's a significant slap in the face to Democrats because not only did ExxonMobil bail its corporate identity, headquarters, whatever, its mailing address, leave New Jersey, or is it planning to? Most of these companies end up falling into Delaware because they've got great tax breaks and whatnot. It's easier to do business and incorporate in Delaware than like anywhere else in the world, right? Well, ExxonMobil ditched Delaware as well. They're like, yeah, you're a blue state. Not hanging out with you. We're going to go to the beautiful state of what? Tennessee? Where'd they go? I want to read this to you. ExxonMobil was evidently born to run because it is ditching New Jersey for a friendlier business climate. You may have read about numerous prominent large corporations heading for the exits in blue states like California and heading for more welcoming climates in, business-friendly states like Texas and Florida. Why? Well, because they're sick of getting constantly hammered with taxes and regulations and hostility from state governments. And now it is ExxonMobil, which announced Tuesday that 144 years after it incorporated into the state, its board of directors just unanimously recommended that shareholders change the company's legal domicile from New Jersey, it's not Tennessee, to Texas. They passed over former President Joe Biden's home state. This is a big one. On their webpage, the oil giant complimented Texas for embracing business. The company had already moved its headquarters to Irving, Texas in 1989, but this latest move would change its legal domicile, which is the state or the jurisdiction where it's legally incorporated. Over the past several years, Texas has made a noticeable effort. This is them saying this. This is Darren Woods. He's the ExxonMobil chairman and chief executive officer. Over the past several years, Texas has made a noticeable effort to embrace the business community. In so doing, it has created a policy and a regulatory environment that can allow the company to maximize shareholder value. Right? Why would you want to stay in New Jersey? Why would you want to be in California where they believe that you owe them just because they have needs for taxes and money, and nobody ever in a blue state would consider trimming their own budgets, right? They just dip down further into the corporate structure, and that's why these businesses are like, suck it. Not going to be a part of it. Aligning our legal home with our operating home in a state that understands our business and has a stake in the company's success is important to us. So how's that war on fossil fuels going for you, blue states, huh? How's that working for you? Life is just going to be easier in Greg Abbott's Lone Star State, Exxon wrote. They said this, in making its recommendation, the board considered Texas's legal and regulatory environment, including its modernized business statutes and the Texas Business Court, which is designed to resolve complex disputes efficiently. So when corporate decisions are challenged, Texas courts are required to apply clear statute-based standards which support sound decision-making. It sounds to me like everybody just wants things to be easy. I agree. Life is complicated enough. Why are we gumming up the works? Well, we shouldn't be. And I think this is sort of interesting because Exxon skipped right over Delaware. Why is that significant? Everybody incorporates in Delaware. They make their home domicile Delaware all the time. They used to. Delaware imposes no corporate income tax on out-of-state revenue, which is big, no sales tax, and they have low franchise taxes, benefiting national and international operations. Non-residents face no personal property or inventory taxes, making it ideal for holding companies and IP-focused firms. Plus, the Delaware Court of Chancery handles corporate disputes with expert judges, delivering fast, predictable rulings without juries. This stability attracts firms seeking legal certainty for mergers and government issues and shareholder conflicts. So what does it mean that ExxonMobil was like, yeah, we're not even going to stop at Delaware. We don't even want to be around Delaware because it's yet another blue state. Why are we going to do what we're going to have to do again anyway? See, this is how I can't put it together. How do you make sense then of people supporting Democrat policies? Where are the people out there waving their flags and like, I love this. I love this. Like all the people wearing the Joe Biden gear during the election of 2020. Oh, that's right. They didn't. Right? All the people showing up for all of the things that Joe Biden, all the events he did. Oh, that's right. He didn't. He stayed in his basement wearing a mask and avoided crowds as his minions ran interference and stole an election. Right? And then it almost seems like the Democrats aren't even grateful for we the people in allowing them to thieve elections. So they suck it to you financially. Has there ever been a Democrat that's run on cutting your taxes? Has there ever been somebody who was like, you know what? I know my party has a really bad track record with money management. Let's just say we suck at this, right? But here's what I think. You guys have paid enough. You paid enough long enough. And I think something should come back to you. I think we're going to cut our size of government by 50%. And the money that we would have been spending otherwise, we're going to wrap it up and we're going to give it back to you. We're going to cut your taxes. We're going to make things easier. We're going to pick up the garbage on the side of the road. We're going to answer your phone calls. We're going to be responsive to you. We're going to get the police out in your community so you feel safe again. We're going to fix the roads and the bridges. We're going to do what we always tell you you're going to do, and we never do. And then you don't vote for us, and then we have to cheat to make it seem like we won, right? It sounds so dumb. Why don't we just stop cheating and start doing something that's a benefit to the American people? Said no Democrat ever. Which is why in my home state here of Pennsylvania, in my county, Allegheny, we have a bunch of people who thought it was a good idea, unless the election was rigged, which clearly might have been. Allegheny County is corrupt as stones. They elected a chief executive, a county executive, abroad with like zero skills, who ran on the platform of jacking up everybody's property taxes by 54%. That was her claim to fame. Right? 54%. Thank goodness it's only 33% or 36%. We almost dodged a bullet there. Our property taxes only went up by a third. It almost went up by a half. So again, tell me, if businesses don't want to work in blue states because it's not effective and it's not safe and it's not affordable and it's punitive and everybody's moving to the red states, and the red states are the states that often don't have income tax, and they get out of your way, and the regulations and the rules are relaxed. And the idea is smaller government allows you to have bigger dreams. So go do you, right? We'll take our taxes. They shouldn't be exorbitant, and we'll call it a day. I don't know. Who would like that better? No, I would. And this is just part of the story. Did you hear about the new oil refinery that's being built? First one in like 50 years. What? Where's it being built? In a blue state? Hell no. Next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. Uh-oh. All right.
Sky's pretty now.
Mm-hmm. Looks like we dodged the bullet there.
Amanda didn't.
Oh. I'm sorry. Are you okay, Amanda?
She's complaining about the amount of water.
She's complaining. Yeah, she commonly complains. The FBI has warned police departments in California that Iran wants to retaliate for American attacks by launching offensive drones against the West Coast. Sounds like a good time to double down on the Golden Dome.
Sounds like a good time to pass something that restores funding. Oh, I don't know.
But they need fissures and fractures of the Department of Homeland Security so that something can slip through the cracks. It's almost like the sleeper cell guys who came across the border under Joe Biden were obvious to us. Who didn't I talk about? I hear you going like this. You want some, don't you? I do. I'm telling you. tulipblooms.shop/Wendy. So anyway, I was going to tell you the story about him, right? So I could get in touch with the guy who's in charge of Tulip Blooms. And he's like, you're doing a really great job. It looks like the people, your people are enjoying our products. And you're only talking about one so far. I want to talk about one product, right? We'll talk about it for a little while and then we'll move on to something else. He's like, you've got a great turnover. People are trying it. Thank you so much. He's like the number 2. He's like, you're our number 1 influencer right now. You're the one who's gotten the most sales. And we're grateful because we believe in our product. I'm like, hell, I believe in your product. Congratulations. He's like the number 2 person. Yeah, they have me on to talk about Tulip Blooms. And you beat me. He's like, you sell more of my product than I sell of my product. And I'm the owner of the company. Tell me about that. And I was like, it's because of our people. It's because of you guys. I love you. And right now, putting it in, rubbing it in, you give it a couple minutes, let it soak and absorb, 5 minutes maximum. And you won't leave marks. You won't be greasy or anything. No smears. It's just delightful. And it's like going to the spa for your hands. I've always wanted to do the paraffin thing where you go and stick them in that glop. And it's like, ooh, it's like warm, waxy stuff. It's supposed to nourish your skin or what have you. Why? I've got velour massaging oil from Tulip Blooms. tulipblooms.shop/Wendy. So good. See if you have anything else on that. Did you get any other information on that?
No, they're pretty much all saying the same thing.
It's scary. You know. I love that Exxon is like, peace out, babe.
6 years ago today, COVID was officially declared a global pandemic. Sounds about right. Home show season.
Mm-hmm. I remember because we were there and I was like, damn it.
Yeah, they shut the show down.
Mm-hmm. Everybody go home.
You could hear over the loudspeakers, please go home.
And I was like, okay.
Yeah, someone
no,
had
except
to stay
I was
back
on, I was on the radio.
Back.
We were on the radio when they did that. And I'm like, all right, do, breaking news. President Trump is bringing historic changes to the U.S. energy sector. He's been the target of a decade-long, 4-pronged counterintelligence, counter-surveillance, espionage nightmare foisted upon him by Democrats in a corrupt Department of Justice, FBI, Chris Wray, all of it, right? And this is the guy who's like, you know what I really think we need to do? We need to look forward and be energy independent even more. And we've got all this AI stuff going on, and we need a lot more power. That's this guy. Joe Biden was on the beach in Delaware. Right? So this is the article from townhall.com, and I think this is very exciting. For the first time in over 40 years, the United States will be seriously expanding their energy production in 2 major ways. On Tuesday, it was announced that a new oil refinery and a new nuclear reactor would begin construction shortly. And the president put it out there, and he said this was the tweet. yesterday. Looks like he dropped this evening about 5:30. America is returning to real energy dominance. See, it's not just being self-sufficient. It's about being dominant. Today, I'm proud to announce that America First Refining is opening the first new U.S. oil refinery in 50 years in Brownsville, Texas. This is an historic $300 billion deal, the biggest in U.S. history, a massive win for American workers, energy, and the great people of South Texas. Thank you to our partners in India and their largest privately held energy company, Reliance, for this tremendous investment. It is because of our America First agenda, streamlining permits and lowering taxes that have attracted billions of dollars in deals coming back to our nation. Amazing. Blue states don't seem to figure this out yet. So a new refinery at the port of Brownsville that is going to fuel U.S. markets, strengthen our national security, boost American energy production, deliver billions of dollars in economic impact, and will be the cleanest refinery in the world. Doesn't that suck? You can't even get your Greenpeace Save the Whale people out there, right? They're too busy killing all the sea mammals by putting in windmills in the ocean because that makes sense, right? So this is a huge deal. America First Refining set to open the first newly constructed U.S. oil refinery in 50 years. Blah, blah, blah. And then there's this one. This is the Nuclear Regulator Commission, also making history with the Department of Energy announcing that the body has issued a construction permit for a first-of-its-kind nuclear reactor in Wyoming. This is the first construction permit ever issued by the NRC, Nuclear Regulator Commission, for a commercial non-light water power reactor. It represents an historic step forward toward deployment of a new generation of advanced reactors in the United States, the Department of Energy said. Non-nuclear construction on the site began back in 2024. Now construction is slated to begin on the reactor itself, which would be the first nuclear reactor constructed in the state of Wyoming. So energy affordability and security continues to be a priority for the Trump administration. Meantime, in New Jersey, if you're ExxonMobil, you're getting bent over every which way. If you're in New York City, you've got clodhopper Zoran Mamdani, who's like, look, we need to dig into the corporate tax rate. I mean, even if companies move out of New York, if they're still doing business in New York, we're going to do what they did in New Jersey because it worked so swimmingly. It chased ExxonMobil out after 144 years. Nice job. Good work. But nuclear. Oh, no, it sounds so dangerous. Well, this nuclear stuff is actually pretty interesting because new reactors target surging electricity demand from what? AI data centers and manufacturing. Trump's executive orders prioritize rapid deployment, like test reactors operational by July 4th of 2026. He wants this thing in Wyoming online stat. This could quadruple U.S. nuclear capacity by the year 2050, reducing reliance on fossil fuels. God, everybody on the left should be loving this, right? Like all the people on the left, all of the women's livers, the vagina hat wearers, all of those wackos, right? They should have been out there supporting Iran's soccer team, female soccer team. Crickets, I don't know what happened to that. Private investment backed by figures like Peter Thiel and Bill Gates, have poured $6 billion into startups, including this one in Wyoming, which just got the green light construction permit. Look, this is like Trump is operating at nuclear warp speed. You've got the Democrats doing whatever they can to drag down, to destroy, to plant seeds of doubt, to be the naysayers of America, to make America horrible, who don't want to pass the SAVE Act because they want people to cheat so that they can stay in power. And you've got this president who's keeping an eye on all of that. He's directly tweeting John Thune or truthing John Thune, saying, get off your ass, John. Get it done, bro. While, oh yeah, looking at nuclear power and all this other stuff and building an oil refinery from an Indian company. It's almost like tariffs work. That leverage, it's so weird how that works, right? What a fool. Donald Trump, what a fool. Right. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, not to blow up this whole narrative on the SAVE Act, but what if the GOP is just kind of jerking our chain? What if this slow walk has nothing to do with the vote count or the filibuster? We'll chew on that next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. I will say, in total honesty and transparency, that Brock and I have commented to each other multiple times that there's really not a whole lot going on today. Have I sold it like it's been a busy news day? Because that would be a thing of skill. Mucho skillo.
I don't speak Spanish.
Ryan, if he's listening, Ryan, tell me what skill is in Espanol. Well, I could just search it. Let's see. It better be spicy. Skill in Espanol. No, that's too much. Aptitude. Competencia. Whatever. I'm not bilingual. All right. Wow. Okay. So we are going to end. Aren't you glad that I found that story? Isn't that the sweetest story, Brock?
Yeah.
Oh, God. Yeah.
Yes, it is, Wendy.
Now,
you did a fine job of finding that. And
no.
we'll all be better off.
Well, I don't recall you doing a whole lot of work on the show today. I have to giggle when I say it.
That's hurtful.
It is hurtful. It's truthful, but hurtful.
Wow.
Okie dokie. It looks like we dodged the tornado bullet. Sorry about Demanda's yard. That's a bummer.
Well, at least it wasn't us.
That's not really the, kumbaya.
Although I can't say anything. I might get home and my roof will be gone.
Yeah, we don't know this. I would presume that my children would have texted me if we had blown away.
Yeah, Sinatra's probably slept through it.
Murphy is a super sketch storm guy. Like, he's all whack. Hates him. All right, 258. So 420. It sounds like a giant number. It's so not a giant number. Think about it. Right now, before we come back, we should easily be at 2.8. That's 220 people. That's baby steps. Let's make it happen. I looked at the leaderboard yesterday. We were 6. Thank you again for what you guys do to support us. Dan Bongino and Steven Crowder both only had like 600,000 views. Sounds dumb to say only, but they usually have, like, Dan usually has 1 million, right? So weird numbers. Don't you love this? All right, so you've switched. You finished Chuck Juice, which is no longer a sponsor. So he bounced over to MCT Wellness with me. So he's drinking the healthy fat, and we better get a new shipment stat. Tiffany, if you're listening. Don't you tell me about the flavor? Do you like the flavor or no?
I did.
I really do. Oh, you already finished it?
I finished it before the show.
Mm-mm.
Well, I got most of it in my mouth, unlike you. Dribbling all over the place.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Let's see how my browbeating worked. Not so well. 30 people only. 2.61.
Numbers seem to be down across the board.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. It's like that we're in this weird vacuum. So Trump is put out, or somebody is put out. Let me see.
I'm hoping my garage blew away.
Yeah, you're trying to get this bad boy covered by insurance. But see, an act of God, they'd probably be like, well, if you look at page 74, section JJJ.
Right.
There it says in something small.
See,
print.
I was thinking about it when you were talking about the hot tub. My problem is I'd have to put a separate deck out for my hot tub, for a hot tub. So, like, the cost just wouldn't be the hot tub. You know, I'd have to put special decking down, because I wouldn't want to put it on my deck that I have now, because it would take up pretty much the whole deck.
I could see it. I feel you. Gosh, it just got cold in here again. Jeez, Louise. From Don
And I wore
DeLuise.
shorts.
Yeah, you did, huh?
Well, they said it was going to be like in the 70s.
with tornadoes.
Well, I didn't know about the tornado.
Well, maybe you should have checked the radar.
Although here's the thing. Illinois got hit really bad. I saw on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
Do you pass the funding now, Democrats? Because FEMA isn't funded.
Well, that could be a bitch.
Yeah.
Thanks, Boston Dave. I always see when you tell me I'm hot. Thank you.
He never says that about me.
Hey, man, when you are inching
gave money
ever closer to 56, you're like, I'll take it. 360 to go to hit 5. Throwing us. Froggy. Oh, Froggy.
Gave $10 today. Is my dad's 82nd birthday. 21 years. 21 years. Air Force vet, devoted husband and father of 2. My freaking hero. Happy birthday to your dad.
Yes. Thank you for the cash. See, now if you had Rumble Wallet, I'd get all of it. But now Rumble has to take its 40%. So whatever. Love you guys. Thank you. That was very kind of you. Rumble's presented a couple interesting sponsor opportunities our way. Radio program, the president outside the White House right now says, you know what? John Thune's got to be a leader. If he's the leader, he's got to go get them, get the votes. It's the Save America Act, the president said. The most popular bill I think I've ever put before Congress. Let's get this done. You got to flip the GOP holdouts. You got to force the talking filibuster. That is what's going on. While simultaneously, and I'm going to read this from Brock because he sent it to me during the break. The FBI has warned police departments in California that Iran wants to retaliate for American attacks by launching offensive drones against the West Coast, according to an alert reviewed by ABC News. So how much do we really want? We got rough weather rolling through our section of the country. We understand Illinois has gotten drubbed. Look, no matter how you vote or what your politics, you want the Department of Homeland Security. You want FEMA. You want our transportation folks, right? TSA folks. You want them compensated. You want them funded. You got 300 people calling off, quitting the TSA in the last 24 hours. We're not getting paid, right? The lines are out the door. We're working shifts. We are making things worse because what's going to slip through the cracks? What's going to happen? And I hate that feeling. But I got to tell you, at 30,000 feet, looking at the cloud formations below, there's something brewing. And the oxygen has gotten sucked out of the news cycle. Nobody is talking about anything. Nothing is moving. It's like we're in this weird holding pattern. And so what's going to give? Well, I did notice in our struggle to find what we believe is scintillating or at least very interesting news for you to chew on during the course of this program. It's not me, just me, apparently, who's been paying attention to the way in which this president has been communicating with media. It's almost like Iran calling CNN and inviting them to get a front row seat to their side of this conflict with America lit a fuse or lit something underneath this president. And he's like, I can't trust the message. I can be in the Oval Office and the reporters can be in the room and the TV cameras can be rolling, and yet the message is not getting out to the people. Something's getting lost in translation, and it's the translation. It's you have a bunch of leftists, a bunch of predominantly, I'm just going to say, look, the scourge of society, white college-educated liberal chicks, putting it out there. They got a lot of people like that running television newsrooms, running the microphones, telling the story of what this president is talking about, and it's not what he's talking about. So he carved out the media, and he's been taking these phone calls one-on-one with journalists. And I was like, this is really weird. We heard from Jonathan Karl from ABC earlier this week. He's like, I've covered all these presidents. None of them allowed me to call and answered my call at 3:30 on a Friday. This president does, right? This president is unlike every other president. He's bringing oil refining back to America. Say, what? We're building a nuclear plant, a reactor or what have you. And why? This is crazy. Do you guys understand the progress, the speed with which this president is progressing while we get a front row seat to the stagnation of the Senate? But I want to read you this from the Washington Examiner. I thought it was a fascinating take on this president's strategy, because it's not just cause. He doesn't just rando, right? He doesn't just, let's do that. He's got strategy. And this is what the headline said, which is, it's true. Trump is betting on himself and on his cell phone to control the epic fury narrative. This is true. President Donald Trump has adopted a new strategy for shaping coverage of the war in Iran, a rapid-fire blitz of short phone interviews with reporters that allows him to drive the narrative while limiting real-time pushback. It's true. It's brilliant. Hadn't thought about it that way, but it's true. I can control what is said, and then there's really not a lot of time on the phone talking to the president of the United States to push back with whatever your narrative is. This is what the president said. And he corrals the media, who he probably cherry picks, I don't know, maybe, to report what he says. It's brilliant. Across his first term and the first quarter of his second, Trump has solidified himself as one of, if not the absolute most media-friendly presidents in history. He routinely holds marathon press conferences at the White House and on the road. You see him do it on Air Force One, just stand there and take the media, the gaggles questions. And he does it in standalone formats or pegged into the back of other public appearances. Either way, he's constantly connecting with the media. But over the past several weeks, even before he gave the go-ahead for military ops in Iran, Trump has scaled back these events, these big press conference-y things. And in the 12 days since the first bombs fell on Tehran, he has moved into a new strategy for controlling the narrative, conducting dozens of interviews by phone with reporters all across the media landscape. Most of you got to give me his phone number, Brock. Let's see if he'll take my call. I'm sure you can find it for me. Most of the calls are brief, lasting between 5 and 10 minutes, but Trump world insiders tell the Washington Examiner that these quick conversations are giving Trump another lever to pull when it comes to filtering news about the war, not to mention public perceptions and sentiment. One longtime out-of-government advisor to the president called Trump's phone strategy a stroke of genius. What you're seeing now is President Trump understanding the media even more than the reporters themselves do, the person assessed. These interviews aren't in an extended setting, so there really isn't time to push back on the president's claims. Reporters and outlets will publish his words because who wouldn't publish an interview with the president, right? Jonathan Karl was nearly starstruck and giddy that he had spent 20, 25 minutes on the phone with Trump. And this insider says giving the president a direct line of message around the war to audiences who might not be tuning in every single White House event, or audiences who don't consume so-called friendly media. A former Trump White House official told the Washington Examiner that Trump's specific choice of words is particularly effective in discussing the strategy and the fallout from the war. Most people aren't experts on military policy or foreign relations or really anything remotely political, really. Critics will say President Trump speaks critically or even unpresidentially, but I would say he speaks in a relatable way that all Americans can easily understand, the former official claimed. That's especially important when discussing events thousands of miles away in a country most people have never been to and will never visit, with a lengthy cast of characters. Trump is able to easily explain to people why we're fighting in Iran and roughly how long we're going to stay there. But it's not just voters who are influenced by Trump's choice of words. Wall Street also listens, as evidenced by huge swings in oil prices in the domestic markets over the past 48 hours. U.S. stocks have gradually slipped since Trump first launched strikes on Iran last Saturday, and over the weekend, crude futures skyrocketed to more than $120 per barrel. I don't know if that's a skyrocket, but it's a jump, a nearly 50% jump since the Iran war began, before settling back down to around $100 per barrel Monday morning. But Trump conducted a phone interview with CBS on Monday afternoon. That's the one with Weizhu Zhang, where he announced that the war would end very soon. That statement that appeared to clash with War Secretary Pete Hegseth's claim to 60 Minutes that America would soon ramp up operations in Iran. But still, Trump's words drove oil prices back down to roughly $80 per barrel and allowed American stocks to rally before the market closed. What doesn't this guy control? That's why they hate him. He's got his fingers on the pulse of everything. He sees and hears everything. How's that possible? It's got to be time travel. White House officials declined to offer insight into Trump's phone interview strategy, especially as it related to Monday's oil price movement, and said that any policy announcement on the issue will come directly from the president, right? But this is what's going on. The president has the ability to control all of it. And he's not just the puppeteer with the American people. It's not just with the markets. It's not just with money. It's not just with investment. It's not just with oil or energy and stuff like that. He's controlling other parts of the world. He's controlling other conflicts. And the left is quick to say, well, he's not ended all of the wars. That's not true. That's fake news. And he's like, look, shut up. What happened before he took office the second time? No movement. Which is why the tariffs were the legendary part of the formula. Without the leverage of basically blocking any country unwilling to pay its fair share to sell its goods here in America and to give Americans a break on selling our stuff in their countries because we've been bent over so royally for so long. The president was able to say, you're either going to play by our rules or you're not going to play. And if you don't want to play, that's fine. We wish you Godspeed, but you will not be selling your things in our country. And the American consumer is the consumer that every single country depends on. You and I, and how we spend our money, is the lifeblood of these countries. And you've got the Democrats squawking in the Rose Garden back in April. This is outrageous. Tariffs? Oh my gosh. Wait, we're going to bring in how many trillions of dollars? The plan is to eliminate the IRS. The plan is to have other countries pay our taxes for us because they're spending so much money here because Donald Trump knows that they need us more than we need them. That's why it's called making America great again. We don't need other people, but they sure as hell need us. And President Trump is making that case, reporter by reporter, one phone call at a time. Legendary. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, you know, this is America. A very special story about a 74-year-old veteran who died in Tennessee. I'll tell you what happened when nobody came to claim him. Next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network.
So apparently, a funnel cloud went over downtown. Kate told me that she's working downtown. the TV station there
Mm-hmm.
evacuated all non-essential employees to the basement.
Who's the essential one? And is TV news really all that
I was
essential?
going to say the same thing, but I didn't want to be cruel. I'd say the weather guy, because I don't know if you guys know this, when there's a tornado warning, TV programming breaks.
They
And
have
that's
to
all
talk.
you do. They have to. It's law.
It's where a meteorologist is worth their salt. And I will say, if you've never seen a really good meteorologist tell you the weather, they don't use notes. They're not looking at anything. It's all ad lib. Now they have a program and they click through their program on their little clickers and they stand there and they show you what's going on.
But they got to just keep.
But they just talk. And if nobody's in the studio with you and you're just talking, it's like, brr. The best you can do is hit traffic cameras and other cameras around the city if you're smart as a TV station. But I don't need to tell them what to do. Now, of course, it's beautiful. Nice and sunny.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Good golfing weather.
So how do you want to do this? So the end of this story is video outside a memorial service for this gentleman who died, and nobody claimed him. Nobody said anything about him. Nobody showed up to claim his remains, his property, anything. He was an unknown, essentially. And so they put the word out. I think it's Nashville. And they're like, hey, if any of you has time, Wednesday at 10, we're doing this thing and we're having a dove release and reading some scripture and paying tribute to this.
Taps.
Right. So they played taps at the end and then they released these doves, but the camera pans off of it. And I'm thinking always about radio because they can't see what you can see. I was flabbergasted by how many people are there. And
They don't. Let me do this real quick so we don't run out of time. They play taps. Do you want to? Do you feel comfortable talking over taps?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, then I'll just play the video. I'll put you in screen.
And
with
then
the
just
video.
maybe pot up, and then can you bring it down a little bit?
Yeah, taps is only 20. They don't play the whole taps.
Right. I don't want to trample it, but I do need to tell people what we're looking at.
The most nerve-wracking thing to play is taps.
As a bugler,
Yes.
trumpet player, yes.
I had to do it I got to do it for Memorial Day every year. There's no pressing any of the valves. It's all, but no one's talking. Everyone's looking directly at you, and God forbid you miss a note. It's
like starting the national anthem too high.
It's like playing. Yes.
You're like, oh shit.
It's like playing a wedding. Too.
There's no way I'm hitting that bad boy.
Yeah. Playing a wedding.
That's why you try to shift it down an octave, and then you're like, yeah, I know. I started too high. Sorry about that.
I've played weddings and memorial.
I don't know. When it comes to actual God-given gifts and talents like that in front of a live audience, no thanks.
Yeah.
I don't got it. I don't got it.
You just don't. You're so nervous you don't want to screw up. And it's not hard. It just.
Yeah, you're the competitor who wants to be the guy at the plate when it's tied and it's the second strike.
That's different. That's completely different.
Why? Either way, you have to perform and everybody's watching you. Good talk. Well, welcome back to the Wendy Bell Radio program. Now, ever cognizant I am of the browbeating that happens on this program. I am aware that we give you a lot of bad information, meaning negative news that you need to know about. I mean, don't you want to know how much they've been after Donald Trump for the last 10 years? Doesn't it make it all that more remarkable to you that they haven't been able to get rid of him? That they haven't been able to thwart his progress? They've thrown everything they have. They're like Iran in the Strait of Hormuz, dropping mines, ocean mines, so that when a ship passes over it, kablooey, the whole thing goes haywire. It's exactly what this administration did before Trump took office again. It's what Obama did before Trump took office the first time, right? Laying the landmines to blow everything up. it makes his accomplishments, his vision, his focus, his planning, the objectives, the strategy, mind-bending. After all of this, all of the lawsuits, the indictments, the charges, the nonsense, the judges, this story is beautiful. You deserve this. So in Nashville, a 74-year-old man who was a veteran died. And this is the story about when nobody came to claim him. RedState.com headline, "This is America. Unclaimed Nashville Navy veteran laid to rest. The community's response was amazing." Right? You got to have something hopeful at the end. This is beyond hopeful. The older you get, the more you try to prepare for the eventuality that one day you won't be here anymore. You get your final papers in order, pre-plan for services, etc., with the mindset being that you want to make sure family members are taken care of and that they won't have to worry about paying for any final expenses. For some folks, consideration of such a situation can inevitably lead to thoughts of, what if I'm the last one to go? Who will be around to speak on my behalf? Will there even be a service? Will anyone even attend to pay their respects? I don't know what U.S. Navy veteran Lonnie D. Wayman, 74, was thinking in his final days. But on February 21st, 2026, he passed away after receiving hospice care with no friends or family to claim his remains. On Monday, one day before Mr. Wayman was laid to rest, a call was put out to the citizens of Nashville, inviting them to attend his service to pay their respects. Join us in paying respect to Lonnie D. Wayman, a U.S. Navy veteran who will be laid to rest with full military honors, read a post on the Tennessee Department of Veteran Services Facebook page. He was an unclaimed veteran with no known family, and we invite the public to attend his service and show gratitude for his service to our country. And then the site shows you videos and photos showing an incredible outpouring of support. A priest delivered a short sermon. Go ahead, Brock. So with taps playing, there are probably 250 people at this gentleman's memorial service, packed inside the center, lined up outside, standing in silence as the bugler played taps one last time. And then they released some doves. I have to say, whomever Mr. Wayman was, what he did with his life, I don't know. But I would imagine that the people in Nashville, Tennessee, who paid attention to that veteran's website page, the Facebook page, and showed up, gave that Navy veteran more love, more support, and a better turnout than if everyone he ever knew showed up. That is America. That is what we fight for. That is baked into who we are and what we are. That is the special sauce. The minute we hear someone is in need, and the minute we hear that someone is a fallen hero, the respect and the dignity is shown. Now juxtapose what that community did for a total stranger, because it was the right, respectful thing to do. Juxtapose that with your American government. When do they do what is the right thing to do? Ever. That's the frustration that I don't believe Senate Majority Leader John Thune and any of the other rhino holdouts who hate America and don't want to save her. That is how I feel about them. I'll take 1 million Mr. Waymans. any day of the week. God bless you, sir. Rest in peace. And thank you. Have a great day, everybody. Love you. Peace.